friend. Um, so I
You
can
can
maybe
get to
call
Dean.
Dean. Yes.
All right. So we could engage Richo as we
Yes,
speak?
you
Or?
can. Yes.
Yeah. So while Cecil is getting ready, getting things up to mark, so Richo, how's it so far with you?
Oh, I'm doing fine, man. Of course, there are challenges in everything else. I'm doing fine now, but I had a few difficult moments. 6 years ago, I went
Oh,
completely blind.
yeah. We are seeing him now. I'm seeing Richo. Cecil, I'm seeing
Yes,
Richo on my monitor.
Yeah, you're seeing him, but I'm not. We are not live yet on
Yeah, but
Facebook.
I'm seeing him on. Yeah. So, Richard, you look pretty good with your spectacles. I must say, you look pretty handsome. You have not aged at all. I mean, come on, brother. You've been doing well. So, please keep us updated. Uh,
I think what we can do is to start the program, and as we go along, we will get the program as we are expecting it to be. So, good evening to you, Richo.
good evening, Cecil.
And we are going to go back, way back then. It's good to see you smiling. It's good to see you present. Um, Rachel, we have this program called Lakou. I think that you said to me that you have been following that program. We're going to
Yes,
talk to you about where Rachel came from a very small age. Um, Going back from preschool, if you can remember, going back to the days at primary school, and then we'll interact.
certainly. Well, I just want to say this. I laughed when I saw remember when I saw the flyer, Laku, when he say a goodwill man, I was like, you know what? The people in River Street and Hillsborough Street might stone you first, because that's where Richo was and that's where he really grew up. The truth is, I grew up in Hillsborough Street and then we moved when I was really a baby to River Street. So I knew of Laku. I'm one of those who experienced the fullness, the real Laku, from Riverbank all the way up to that area between the botanical gardens and the cemetery. The cemetery is right there. So you could have walked, crossing every street, every place, going all all through there. And not only there, but there were other areas, other places you could pass through from that main artery that ran right through from River Street, Hillsborough Street, Pong, all the way across, right there. Uh, Talking about my days, bro, we have to remember Teacher Rose. I'm a product of Teacher Rose, man. I went to Teacher Rose school. So I'm a product of Teacher Rose. And then you know the next move from Teacher Rose. Teacher Rose was, I still remember this lady. I still remember the effect she had on us, on me. And then we move on to mixed school. We all mixed school. And then from mixed school, we
No,
ended
no,
up
no.
going to this.
Before you talk about ending up in another part, I know going to mixed school. It would be nice that you told us about Teacher Rose, who actually was the owner of that preschool. Then you
Yes,
were transferred to the Roseau Mixed Infant School. So you need to tell us where
yes.
that was, who was the principal, the teachers that
Please,
taught
man,
you.
you trying to bring me back to some things, bro. There's some things I don't have in my head. Like you want to bring me in there, but I will tell you exactly. Kennedy. It was what? Is it Kennedy Avenue?
That's
No,
Cox
not
Street.
Kennedy
That's
Avenue.
Cox Street.
Cox Street. It was in Cox Street, right? Right up in Cox Street, right there. I think Karam was. You had Karam across from there at
Opposite.
one time, the
Yes.
garage. Huh?
Opposite. Karam was opposite.
Uh,
Immediately opposite the school.
Not immediately opposite. No, they had something there. I know Karam came about after. Karam Garage.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, you had Karam Garage after, I think so. Renick and them used to live down that street. Oxley, the Shillingfords had their place going down that street there. The truth is, Can I remember who the principal was? No. What I
Was
do
it Miss Chris?
remember
Was it
is
Was it Miss Christian?
Miss Christian. Man. You get it, Miss Christian. And
That's
not
Gable.
only
That's
that, I'm
Gable's
going to
mother,
tell you
right?
something. That's Gable's mother. And I'm going to tell you something that's interesting about that. I can still remember when it rained. You
Hang
would
on,
take
hang on, hang on.
okay.
Hang on, Richo, hang on. I need to correct you there as an educator. Miss Christian was Henkel's Christian's sister.
Yeah.
Gable's mother was never the principal of that school. It was
No,
Miss
no, she
Christian.
was not the principal.
Thanks for the correction.
Yes.
And you know, all my life I thought that was Gable's mom.
No. That's Henkel's
No, no.
Christian's sister, who later became the education officer for infants.
Yeah, you were.
She lived in
Yes,
she
you
lived
were.
in she lived in Canefield. She
Yes.
lived in Canefield,
Yes.
opposite to Patrick John there on the hill. She has a house.
Right there,
Right.
right there, up there. Yes, I know. Now you're putting it together. Yes, Miss Christian. Now you see, years I have to go back. But what I remember, one of the things we used to do is to make paper boats,
Yes.
take popsicle sticks. Let me tell you, take popsicle
Fan.
and make fun. But we used to take popsicle sticks and even matchsticks if we get them. You remember? And as the gutter, if it rained, and we would follow those things all the way down to the bayside, following our boat.
Yes.
You know, so we did a number of those things.
So,
right
so
there.
as Richo, as you're saying that, I think it is good that we can take an opportunity to talk about some skills that we were taught before we were actually 10. So you talk about building boats with paper. We also did fans with paper.
We
Um,
make guns.
we made what?
Guns. You remember you make a gun?
Oh, yes,
And
we-
then the puff.
Yes, the puff.
And you remember
Puff.
you make the puff?
Yes.
You flick it.
Yeah.
The
Puff.
puff.
And you're the puff. Yes.
Yeah.
Then you had the powder puff.
That's what I'm saying. The powder puff.
So you
That's
have it,
That's it.
and you open it and you thing.
And you know, in those days you'd buy popsicle and you take the popsicle stick and do what?
Man, you would make all kinds of things with that, bro. You'd make little houses. You know, you would even build. You know, some people would take it. I know I take mine, and you know what I build with mine? I made a thing to put little pennies and so on in there.
That's true. You
we,
talking
had, we
about
had those kind of skills there, but you could do so many things with it.
And
And
while
a fan too.
and while you were at school at that time, did you remember, or can you remember the tree that was in the yard?
Of course, nobody can forget that tree that was there. You had to have that tree in the backyard there. Of course, that was there. Of course. And that tree was leading to where I'll tell you who
Delays?
Atman was living, you know, Atman Andre.
Yes. So
Right, Atman Andre, and so his father was Mr. Andre. They used to live right there. And there were some other people that lived there too.
So-
but of course, that tree was there. And there was a piece of broken wall. Remember that?
so before the broken wall, as we're talking about the tree was actually a flow tree. Is flow is called it?
A flow.
Flow tree.
Yes, that's how.
Yeah, a flow tree. And we would take that flow and blow it to go up in the air. Remember?
yeah, but
Blow it out. Yeah.
I want to bring you to another tree that was in that yard, which is very, very famous. All of us who passed through the mixed school knew that tree. That was the Don's tree. I don't know.
Tree.
Oh yes.
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 I don't know whether you ate from that tree.
All of us would have.
Of course, I ate from that tree, and right in front of when you were passing through the Lakou in Hillsborough Street, my grandmother, right in front of my grandmother's place, right there. You remember the old hospital? There's another huge Dun's tree in there
Yes.
in Hillsborough Street. But yes, that other. So there were two Dun's trees.
And let me throw another tree to you.
But before you go to the tree,
Go ahead,
Richo is saying something there that, you know, I think I need us to come back later on. Richo, you're talking about the old hospital, and we need to speak a bit about this a bit more, because most persons are aware of the former Princess Margaret Hospital, now the Dominica China Hospital. So it'd be good to really talk about on both Hillsborough Street and Kennedy Avenue. But you were talking Hartly about the other tree.
Yeah, the other tree, which I still find it's there, it's called the peepee tree.
The peepee tree.
Do you know the peepee tree? Cecil, do you know what is a peepee tree?
Trying to remember.
I know what the peepee
I
tree
can't remember. Was that tree?
When you
Every boy used to pee on it?
No.
And when you press it, that thing was smelling like pee-pee,
Peepee, man. We have a thing. When you press it, when you squeeze it, some water come out from it, man.
Is that the tree? Is that the tree east of the veranda mixed school?
Yes.
That tree, right?
Yeah, peepee tree, yeah. Yeah.
See the names we give those trees, boy. I never know your correct name.
Do you know that tree which is almost the same tree? The coxsicum tree?
The coxsicum.
The coxsicum. Did you ever play that, Cecil?
Everybody, you are putting the red what you call it? Help me, your teacher, so you know. To hook each other.
To hook each other.
Yeah, and you'll pull, and the stronger one would remain. And if the weaker one goes, and you have the weaker one, you get a calotte.
That's right.
That's in the Roseau Mix and Fan School. We talk about the Roseau Mix, and that's
right back to.
And that is why I did not want us, Richie, to just go past the Roseau Mixing Fan School, because at the Roseau Mixing Fan School, that's where a lot of us learn to do a lot of mischief.
A number of things. Remember the veranda, man? We used to swing in that veranda. We do until we break all the things. Not on the veranda, man. That's famous veranda.
That's right.
No, Richo. The school at that time, I can remember a few teachers. I remember Norrin Joseph taught me in ABC class. I don't know for you. That was my first primary school teacher, Norrin Joseph, in ABC class, which was in this eastern side of the building. Remember, the building was very long from east to west. So you had the eastern side, and you had the ABC class, or classes. There was more than one class. Either ABC classes or ABC and standard one.
Standard one. That's the furthest it got to. Standard one.
Right. So, and then we had Miss Tavernier. Remember Miss Tavernier?
Man, now you're bringing it back. Right back, Miss Tavernier. I can slim. She used to live I think in Hillsborough Street. I think Miss Tavernier.
Hillsborough Street, that's correct. Hillsborough Street. Slim. Yes.
Slim, tall, Miss Tavernier, yes.
And Richard, you can maybe help me, or the wife of this guy who lives in Kenfield, Collier from Petit Savan. We know him, very popular guy. Used to live in Kenfield. His wife was shot. Oh God, how could I forget his name? I'm sure some people will remember her name. Will remember his name and tell me her name. But
I don't know whether you met Miss Graham.
Yeah, Miss Graham.
Miss Graham is still alive, eh? She lives in Kenfield, a Redskin woman.
She's still alive?
Yeah, Miss Graham is still alive.
Wow.
I saw her a couple of days ago in Roseau. Miss Graham.
And there was this other lady. There was Miss Coffee. There was Miss Coffee.
Miss Coffee, yes.
There was Miss Coffee, Norrin Joseph, Miss Graham, and there was somebody else. One more. That was it.
But how could I forget his name?
Because remember, Belton and them the Belton family live right next to
the
that
school, yes.
Right. But they live right adjacent to the toilet.
Yes, that's right.
To the toilet part of it.
Yes. To the toilet. And at the back there, Baben was actually living across that area.
The house is still there.
And Baben house is still there. The Shillingford house that you spoke about is still there.
He died.
No, he died, but the house is still there.
But his son lives in the house.
Yes. Then remember around that house, and it's good that we can talk about that Lakou aspect of it. Around that, there was a standing pipe with the Dovers and Terry Green mom living.
That's right.
You remember the small houses? Richo?
Yeah, they were shacks.
Yes.
Shacks. That's how most of us were living. Remember, a lot of us were living in shacks, you know. because in Pong, remember you had all these buildings together coming together. The people, the landowners at the time, they were not doing no development. They were doing nothing. They were just collecting their rent. People were living in these little shacks.
No, let me just say good evening to a number of people already listening. 49 people already on. Ivani Lawrence, good evening to you. Yolan Kepero is watching. And also Sherlyn Pond. The name sounds familiar, but I cannot make out this person. Well, Sherlyn Pond, that is Richo. And she said he worked with Cable Wireless for years. We'll come to that. Caesarina, Elwin, Augustine. Hey, Richo, good evening, gentlemen. Peter Prosper is looking at you, my brother. Peter Prosper is looking at you.
Boy, Peter.
I know Peter Prosper has something to say about you for sure.
Boy, oh yes.
If he doesn't call, he'll say something on Facebook. Ambrose Thomas, Richo, he called you. Maureen Massicott. You have Petra Sweeney. Ataman lived on Great Marlborough Street. Albert Douglas, he too went to the Roseau Mixing Fan School. We call him Whitey. Good evening to you all. City Breeze listening. Comrade Cecil and Brain. And so we have quite a number of people. Estrado, LG Estrado, I am looking. Crispin Piper, Uncoction. As a matter of fact, as we speak, where Crispin Piper home is, that's where the school was.
That's right. Yeah. That Piper fella.
So
yeah, right.
We should go back and claim our land.
It was then under the Freedom Party they destroyed or damaged the school and they built the housing complex apartments in that area.
Yeah.
And Sandra Sayer said, good evening, everyone. Wilbert Willis is saying he's watching. She's also Petra Sweeney spoke about Beulah Tavernier, sister of Prince Shillingford. Al Binois said that he is also watching. So quite a number. We have been to 51 as we speak.
Right.
So Richo, so we talk a bit of the Roseau Mixing Fan School. While at the Roseau Mixing Fan School, you made mention of Rennick Thomas and Kelvin Thomas and Michelle, mom and aunt selling what?
Coconut cheese and tablet, bro.
But bro, let's
coconut cheese.
Let's give him another name, no man. The senior partner, man. Bala, man.
Oh,
The great Bala,
Yes,
man.
Bala. Hey, Bala, ciao to you.
and so at recess time, our little 10 cents and 2 cents, we used to buy scraps.
Yeah.
Remember scraps?
Oh yes.
Right, that's the scraps. You know what he was made of coconut cheese and tablet and all them things mixed together, man. Yes.
Scraps.
And Fawin cocoa.
Fawin cocoa.
Fawin cocoa. Don't forget the Fawin cocoa, bro.
Boy, listen, I wonder if the generation of today know what we are talking about.
Found Coco?
I have an idea as to what we're talking about.
What you talking about now? The kids don't even know
Aricho?
those things. Ah, man, that's
No, I don't
ancient.
think-
I don't think they know that, man.
So you said so much about the Roseau Mixing Fan School. Let us take a walk through now. Pong. Don't just say we go to the next school. You have to talk about getting into Pong and getting into the Roseau Girls School. Let me hear if you remembered Pong, because you said you came from River Street.
Bro, if I remember, Pong, where Toss and all the other brothers used to live, bro, where everybody else used to live, we had to walk through. Remember when you leave, I want you to understand that. When you leave mixed school, you pass in that little cool at the back there on Great Marlborough Street, I think. Is that what it is?
Yes, you're correct.
Pass,
Yes.
right. And you enter into that other little lakou there, and you go all across. You have two ways you could go. You could go towards on the left. You could go towards the area where the big mango tree was.
But tell us the people in the
Okay.
living. But you're from the area. Tell us the name of the people. Let me see if you have good memory. Well, if you take the left, I'll help you. Before you take the left, in that little coulee, it had Diaz. You remember Diaz?
That Diaz.
Diaz.
And I don't talk. Yeah.
And then when you take that left, on the opposite side of Diaz, you had Ken Williams, Carl Williams and these guys were living in that house. And then you moved, as you said, you moved to the left. So on the left, you would see Mr. Sandy. You remember Mr. Sandy? What was his name?
You're bringing me right back to this.
What was his name?
Which Sandy?
Sandy that used to have the long pocket, riding the bicycle.
Oh yeah, man, Sandy, man, the Redskin man.
Yes, tough, not tough, but fat.
Yeah, Sandy.
On his bicycle, long pocket.
Yeah.
Patricia Sandy's father, Shirley Sandy's father, Terry Sandy's father.
Terry.
Right.
Terry.
Right. And right in that left, you say you take that first house. You remember that first house? Let me see if you have good memory. We're just giving some people some walk, some memory, some going back in memory lane. The first house was Franklin Moses' grand I think aunt Lucia Blaise.
Lucia Blaise.
You see, you remember, you see, you in Dominica, so you still remember these things. But I just, yes, I now you saying it coming back to me. Mm-hmm. And remember, there was also another area. If you take right,
no, we're not taking right yet. We're not taking right yet. And deliberate, Richard. We're just trying to bring some memory back to you. No, Lorden. You said that Lorden and them were living there, right? Tosh, Lorden. So Lorden.
Remember, if you come out there, you're
right.
coming out straight in front of your Carib cinema, and it's not
that is Arawak cinema was right, and you had the hills on the other side, right there.
Right.
Now, if we go back and we take the right, let's see what you're talking about in the right. I want to hear.
Yeah. In the right, you take the right. There was a stone. There was a big stone.
Yes.
There's a big stone there. You walk around. You see, I can still remember that. And you walk through. I try to remember all the name of the people that live there.
Okay,
so
right in front of you, there was a yellow house with a small shop. Let me see if you remember. My brother, don't do that to me, man. I wonder if Hartly remember himself.
Well, I can't remember. I know, for instance, well, go ahead.
Oh, right in front of that, you would see Mr. Levi Loblack's father's house.
That was the house I was coming to mention.
Okay.
Yeah, so you had Mr. Loblack.
Mr. Loblack.
Today, DBS Radio had a program on him. Right. DBS had a program on him today.
You had your good friend who was a teacher with you, Emmanuel Loblack.
That's where he lived. Martha Loblack. In that little house. They had a little shop right there. And they had one little door, and the rest of the house next door to Martha, adjacent to Martha, was my grandmother, Millie. We used to call her Millie Bobine. Millie Bobine.
Oh, you have a picture of that whole yard, man. Says.
And Millie Bobine, right in front of Millie Bobine, had a mango, had a tall mango tree, mango long.
I think it's a mango long. That's what I say. When you go there, you of course have to.
And on your left from Millie House by the mango tree, you had Chris Bugunu, as a little boy. Right. That's where Jerry Bugunu lived in that little. And there was a lady from Vickers.
The man have the whole thing done back.
The man rehearsed that,
I know. And then you see, Richard, I want to give you a walk before you reach to the school that you want to go to. And then you had a lady that they called Ma Alan. Her husband used to work for Central Water Authority. I remember as a boy, because her husband worked at Dominica Central Water Authority in the early 70s, when many of us did not have water, she had pipe-borne water. And she used to take a lot of people from the East, Grand Form on Jean, to live at her home.
Board and lodge,
yes. Right. And in that Kuwe now, you continue in the Kuwe.
Yeah. When you go in the Kuwe, remember again, that Kuwe could take you all the way back in. You could go all the way back in, or you go out, and you would end up straight in front of what we used to call the mini street.
So hold on. So go back in now, where the big mango is by Trifina.
Trifina, whatever. Yeah, the big mango tree I spoke about. That was the central feature there.
Yes.
That huge mango tree was the central feature of that Lakou right there. Mm-hmm. Okay, and you had other. I'm trying to think of some of the other people that were living there.
Pamphile.
the Pamfields,
Yeah.
Pamfield and his
The
brother.
Prevost, the Prevost.
The Prevost, they live there.
Right.
Yeah. And then you go, there are a lot of people living in
A
that.
whole set of little houses. Jennifer
But
Nanton, a whole set of them.
Jennifer Nanton,
Yes.
you had all those people on them. I think I was trying to think. Somebody had, man, when you come out, I know there was somebody at the end just before, that's after you come out, but when you've come out, I'll try to think of it because they had a shop up the end of that road right
It
there.
was the hills.
Just
The hills. Look how the hills.
Man.
The hills.
Roy Hill, man.
The hills.
Roy Hill,
Yeah,
man. He
man.
used to drive for the grammar
Roy
school.
Hill.
Roy Hill. They had a shop
Yeah.
where fellas used to go and get a little rum, man.
Yeah. You know what that was, right? You know what they was selling there, right?
You go for your little nanny, you go for your little
Your
wab,
nanny
you,
and your lapset
your
and
lapset, your
stuff
country
like
rum.
that, bro.
No. You know, I deliberately decided to make you talk about this area in its entirety. Why? Because today there's a landmark. I know that you're out of Dominica for a number of years, and that landmark is the financial center.
Yes, I've not seen it, but I've heard
So
it,
that
yeah.
whole area, Jermaine, I remember Jermaine used to be living there, close to the Lafons. All that area, well, the Lafons is still around, but all of that area that we spoke about, Sissin Place, Lodi Place, Lucia Bless Place, Mr. Loblack, Diaz, what you call him, Chris Bukunu, Ma Alan, the Hills, Maya, you know, all of this place, all of these homes, all of these buildings, this the homes that people lived in are all gone, and this area there is where we now house the financial center.
Right. Not only the financial center, not only the financial center we have there, we also have a kind of a car park there on the
other side where you had, and I'm telling you all of this, Richard, because you're not aware of that. So it gives you a picture of what we're talking about. So where you had the shop, my brong, I'm trying to remember her name, but that shop right there, and you had this guy, he drives truck. How could I forget his name? Boston,
right?
Yes, he drives truck. He used to be living in that area there. Also, all of that, right? So all of that area where we had the Langleys living, Tosh living. All of that area now is a car park. It's a car park right in that area there. But at the back, it's almost the same. If you come back, when you come back home, you'll see that part of the Lakou, that part of Pong is still around. The Mopsy used to be living is still around and so on.
All right, let me just give him a little eye there
Give
also.
me one more sway Mopsy. One more sway Mopsy.
Right,
remember that?
Richo, also where you had the shoemaker, I know you know the guy used to do repairing the shoes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
All that area has been taken out now.
That's why I said. That's why
Right.
his name is. I just said his name is Tosh.
Tosh.
Yeah.
Good.
Gosh, we used to remember even you'd go there and fix your shoes, man. And sometimes you'd take some tire, man.
You used to use the tire.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Give us that story. Give us that story.
Yes, tires, man. Tires became souls, man. It's a long time I've seen that where he cautioned these people, they were using the tires. You go with your shoe and so on, and they would replace the sole. If you had a leather shoe and it was breaking down, they replace that with a piece of tire, and that would last
for a long time. So the other shop I was talking about outside of Miss Hill, the brown one I'm talking about was Ma Patrick.
That's right.
Ma Patrick.
That's a famous shop.
Famous shop.
Ma Patrick. Yeah. So quite a number of 65 people already looking on. Someone just corrected us and said that Jennifer Nanton was actually living on Hillsborough Street. I meant it was this girl. She played netball. Jermaine actually lived in that area too, in Pong.
By the way, Cecil, let me ask you a question. Richie can answer it too. Was it where also Sparrow used to go and find his woman, Melda? Was not in the Pong area.
Oh yes, right there, right there.
Eh?
So people, a lot of people may not be aware, but we need to make people know that that Sparrow wife, well, Sparrow girlfriend, let's put it that way. One of his first ladies in Dominica was from that area. Melda, yes, Melda Wood. Melda Wood, you making wedding plans?
She was in that, yeah.
All you do is like my name to Obia man. Can't get through.
She was living in that area.
She was living
Beautiful
in the Pong area.
Pong area.
So for persons who may not know that Sparrow,
You remember all of that?
I'm a historian, you know.
Sparrow, I think they were married, right, Bren?
Oh, no, they were not married. They almost got married.
All right.
They almost got married.
Right. But Sparrow said, Melda, she went and maybe go to the
wedding plans. All
she
you
make
do,
all
you
her
can't
wedding
get
plan.
through.
All she can get through, all she do is go by the Obia man. So for persons who may not know, yes, Sparrow had a nice girl in Dominica.
Right, and it was in Pong.
Doreen Jura, I just want to say good evening to Doreen Jura, because Doreen Jura herself lived in Pong as a little girl before she went to Baffin State. She said my Patrick shop was there in the area of Capac, and Mahill shop was where the financial center is. Thanks, Doreen. And Doreen she's now living in Baffin State. She's a Pong child. Doreen Jura, Reds and Mamuna and these people there. Yes, Richard, go ahead.
No, I was saying with some of the people watching, I hope I have an opportunity to just share with them, because I want them to know where I am, where I've been, and what I've been involved in.
Richo is a road. Richo is a road.
It's a road.
Richo is a road. We have 4 hours. We're ending at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we have 3 more hours.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I thought it was.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
So now, Richo, we go to your other school, the Roseau Girls School. That's what you want to talk about.
Yes. Well, of course, all of us know it was called the Roseau Girls School, but it was mixed. That's one of the things that was interesting. The Roseau Girls School at the time when we were going to school was a school mixed with boys and girls. Right there, close, very close. Again, for me, it was part of Windsor Park.
That's right.
For me, it was just outside of the Windsor Park, right there. I don't know what is there right now.
So Richard, you're right. The Roseau Girls School had a boundary, but to the east of the Roseau Girls School there was a gate. Some of us forgetting those things.
Yep.
A gate that would carry you through the Rose to the Windsor Park.
Yep. And you gotta get by us too, behind there, and then they block it.
Yes.
Behind the girls' school.
Yes. And you say you are asking, you're not so sure what is there. It means that you have lost touch of Dominica. So what is right now in that area is the stadium, the national stadium.
That's in 26 years, I'm out of here. 26 years.
Yeah. So that's where the stadium is.
I've been saying that. I just want you to know that I will be coming home. Shout out to Jomo, to Coco Shu and my boys there. I will be coming home in August for sure. We have a mission, and we'll just talk about it briefly. But I'll be home in August.
Don't go yet. I must tell you that the great Coco Show is no longer in Roseau. He's somewhere in the country.
He's in the country.
He's happily married now in the country.
Yes, I know that. I know somebody. I got this 6 year.
Yeah, man. The man has left us in Roseau now, and then I just see him. He has taken wife in the Woodford Hill area, in the married somewhere there.
Yeah, he's a Woodford Hillite.
Yes.
He's living there.
So now, Richard, tell us your life story at the Roseau Girls School. Girls, you entered in second standard 2.
Yes, standard 2. It was a challenging. It was challenging, bro. We went to school. We went to school carefree without no challenges. Some of us were quite adept in terms of our knowledge. We were always quick-witted. We were sharp. We were little brainiacs. For me, it was a transition. For the first time, because mixed school was boys and girls, so it wasn't anything that was different for us. It was just, to me, going to Roseau Girls School was just fine. don't ask me about the teachers. I don't know if I can't remember none of them, to be honest.
I'll remind you. Mr.
Go
Winston.
ahead.
Mr. Winston.
Okay, okay, right. Bring them back because Mr. Winston, you know the only teacher.
Miss Elwin. Miss Elwin, Sharp Elwin's wife.
Sharp wife. Sharp and them used to live right around the corner there, right there between Hillsborough Street and wherever River Street there.
Right.
Sharp and them.
Right. Then you had Miss Alexander.
Yeah.
How could
Dark, short.
How could you forget? No. How could you forget Miss Alexander?
Which one that was dark? There was a teacher there. One of them was dark. You know. I mean, I might be mixing up maybe boys school with. Okay, yeah.
Okay, I'm just giving you a little walkthrough. Mr. Maglo.
Maglo was in mixed school, bro.
No, in Roseau Girls School.
In Roseau Girls School.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, because I think Maglo also ended up in boys' school, so that's why
at
I'm
one
saying
time.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not so sure if Lennox Linton was in your time. Teaching Free C.
In Free C, no.
So there was Free C, there was Free B, Miss Tavernier, Miss Alexander. Oh no, Miss Birmingham. Miss Birmingham.
Okay. All right. Remember that school had a little. It had a little off section, sort of.
Yes.
You know, you had the thing, and then you had a little off section.
Right. That's standard 2. That's standard 2. That's standard 2.
Standard 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you come from standard 2, and you come in through that alley to get to the wider part of the building, where you had standard 3, standard 4 for the girls, and standard 5 for the girls.
Yeah.
So Mr. Maglo was in standard 5 for the girls.
Yeah, you was teaching the girls.
Right.
You say Maglo. I just realized. Yeah,
and Mr. Winston taught me in 3A, boys and girls.
Let me just ask you, Maglo was from where? Loda.
He's from Loda, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you see, so yeah, okay. Now you're saying it is coming back. So,
and Miss Birmingham, she has now passed. What Birmingham?
I can't remember. Oh, Miss Birmingham.
Yes.
I think she lived somewhere in
Street. She used to be living in Virginia at the time.
Yeah, but at the time when I knew her,
Marvelyn Birmingham.
Marvelyn, you're talking.
Yes.
You say Marvelyn passed? No, yes. You say.
No, Marvelyn died.
She had this last year, right?
Yeah, yes. She passed last year, February.
Okay.
Yes.
Right, Adam, she used to have those wrong kind of glasses.
Yes, right.
Right.
Right. Okay.
So tell us a little bit about Roseau Girls School. I doing too much talking. I want you to. It's your night.
No, well, to be honest with you, Cecil, I had never really concentrated on all of this. It was just a time for me. It was a time of growing up, a time of coming together. I'm not too sure. Didn't they have on the other side of the girls' school a sort of little, I don't know if it's a pharmacy or something.
The health center.
On the other side of
there was a health center. And they had the health center, and there was also the dentist office.
Yeah, the dentist office.
And there was also the dentist, and there was also the pharmacy.
Good.
And not only that, there was a man living in a little house there as well, by a mango tree.
Not so Brooks?
Yes.
Not so Brooks?
No, a Beachy, Mr. Beachy.
Beachy, yes.
Mr. Beachy, man.
Mr. Beachy living in a house there, man.
Yes. So in that white long building, we had to the west, you had where the dentist used to be, and a little bit to the south, you had the doctor's office. Then on the other side of the doctor's office, you had the pharmacy. You remember who were the persons there? Let me see if you remember.
No.
You live in River Street, so how could you forget? How could you forget? Stowe, Embert Stowe.
Embert store. Okay,
The
good.
scent.
Sorry. Well, just say Embert, man, and then I'll get it out.
The scent.
Okay, good. I guess
Right.
it just trying to rack up
Himself and Sparks, two Calypsonians.
Calypsonian.
Were
Sparky.
actually
Calypsonians, of
they,
course.
they,
Mikey Stark and Embert
right.
store.
They were two
No,
pharmacists.
Embert store's son won Calypso King in Dominica.
No,
No.
not I know of.
He won the road match Titi on Belly.
Oh,
Titi on
yes,
the-
that's what he did.
Yeah,
Right,
he
right.
road
Oh,
match.
road match he won.
Right.
Okay,
And on the
right.
other side, you had a green building. Remember that green building, what it was? But Richo, you from River Street there, man, Richo.
No, he has lived
We
so
were talking-
You
long.
know,
we
I'm
talking-
trying to imagine you couldn't remember Beachy, and I remember him. So there's something.
No, I remember the name. I remember the name. I remember No,
Give me one.
the hospital.
What was it?
It was a wing of the hospital.
Yeah, it was. Was it the TB area?
No.
But the
I think
TB
it was more
which one?
maternity, you know. If it was the
There
maternity.
were more maternity.
Okay, yes,
Maternity
I
section.
think maternity.
Now, Richo,
Okay,
all
I
of this
got it.
area that we're talking about, is the stadium.
The stadium now.
Okay.
So it's how huge the stadium is.
Right. And let me just give him a little update whilst in that area just to modernize him. At the back, now we have a road. You remember when you used to pass at the back road to go to the technical wing? Where you used to go to
Yes.
the technical wing? Well, there is a road now passing right across. They now ending up right up there in Bath Estate by the El Rose area there and by the
Yeah.
bridge.
Rose still there?
No!
No.
Elrose is gone. So right now there's a new grammar school building where
Yeah.
exactly where Elrose was.
Wow, you
So
had
So
to
what
catch
they
up.
did with the grammar school?
The old grammar school it's demolished,
Demolished?
and they're building a new wing of the Dominica Grammar
Grammar
School.
So all that has
Okay,
been
all right.
transformed, Richie.
And
You had to come
Okay.
home.
and on the other side, you remember the forestry had an office there. Remember that?
Forestry division, yes.
Right.
Remember
So-
I worked with forestry for a little while.
So that area is still there, but adjacent to it, there was that empty lot, as we all know, going when we used to use there to actually go to the river.
Yep.
I forgot the name of the river already.
Yeah, I mean, the Roseau River, or what we call
Yeah.
the Queens River.
Well, when you're talking about that was an area to go down by
Sikri.
Sikri. So in that
Sikri.
area there's a housing complex. We just bring.
Okay, you have three sisters and Sikri.
Yeah.
Right. So we bring. So
You didn't forget that. I forget that one.
Sweet cake,
I used to go there days, man. I catch enough dummy and mealy. In there, bro.
you catch Teta?
I catch straight out to shock them things with stone. What you talking about?
What you did if you take? What you did if you Teta?
Man, we cook that, bro. I know where you're going, but I don't know where you enjoy that.
I'm asking you. What
didn't
did you
join the
do,
group.
You
Teta?
enjoy that too. I catch you.
You're not
Richo did not join that crew.
No.
So
I
you
didn't join that
so you have always been enlarged then.
don't answer me, son of a-
Where you were going.
I know how you catch him.
So you were always enlarged. So there was no use for the Teta.
No use for data, man.
No need to take that.
All right. So Richo, you now
Yeah.
spoke of the mixing fan school. You talk about your free schools. Let us now talk about where you went from Roseau Mixing Fan School.
Did you go Roseau Boys School?
Well, you know, go to Roseau Boys School. There was no other place to go but Roseau Boys School.
Who you met there?
Down,
Who you met down at the Roseau Boys School?
so Demoulin, man, I never forget Demoulin, you know.
That's
Foggy, Demoulin. And remember at the back, when we went to Roseau Boys School there, they had this place with, where they used to, there's a cricket pitch right in there. You remember that, right?
Right.
At the back of that, right there. Of course, this guy, you know, a number of teachers, man. Teacher Joseph, that was a little mental. You remember him? A brilliant teacher, man.
Yeah, Joseph. Yeah,
Teacher Joseph.
he's from
Yeah.
Colio?
Coolibby Street.
Coolibby Street, yes.
Coolidge Street area
Yes,
there.
Coolidge
Yeah.
Street.
A number of those guys, man.
Miss
Of
Darampo?
course.
Miss Darampo?
Miss Diane Pooh. No, that's who I was talking about when I made the mistake. It is Miss Diane Pooh I wanted to say. Yes, Miss Diane Pooh. Of course, who else?
What
Miss
about
Hamlet? Miss Hamlet?
Miss Hamlet. I forget. How can I forget these people's names?
What about the
man? These
lady?
were all my-
What about the lady who always used to be washing bottles, Miss Murphy?
Miss Murphy, I was going to say she was my neighbor, in River Street. She was living right next. We were living right next to each other in River Street. After a while, Miss Murphy.
What about Affa?
Yeah, Arthur Smith.
Affa Smith?
Yeah,
Did Desmond Calais taught you?
Desmond Calais, he was there.
Sir Martin Luther, Sir Luther?
Luther taught you?
No,
No.
Luther didn't teach you.
Yeah, but Luther.
What about Atherley?
Huh?
Mr. Atherley?
No, after he didn't teach me because I ended up by the time together with Foggy's sons, Wendell and all of them. I ended up going to a grammar school at a young age.
So because these teachers were Sir Luther, Arthur, and Calais, all of them taught in first form.
First form,
Yes.
yeah.
So
I wasn't in first form.
Right.
I left before first form. I did
David
my common entry.
You remember David Kentish?
Of course, Kentish, of course.
You remember?
And you know what I want to
remember
tell
Low Black?
Of course, but I want to tell you something you forget. You remember that little house that I had there? There was some Peace Corps dudes doing papier mâché and all that kind of acting right there. I forget their name.
Where? In this?
Nobody can remember them.
Where?
Well, I remember these guys who used to do the papier mâché and artwork, right in the little outhouse there. In the
little outhouse, right there.
Right, they had an art shop there. There was an art shop there.
Art shop, right there.
Where they used to do the leather shoes? Bionics?
Everything.
Everything. It was a craft.
Everything. There was everything in there, but in the yard itself.
That's by
the building.
That's by
the
this
building.
lady.
You look like one of those long house, those slaves. That's how I
remember
when
it
I think of it.
Are you talking?
The way it was built.
Are you talking about where this girl, Boom, what's her name, Marlene lives?
No.
Yeah, Marlene and then at the back, in there.
Okay.
But I'm saying in the schoolyard itself. Remember in the schoolyard, we had a playground. Mm-hmm. It never had grass. No grass. Dirt and
dirt.
All kind of
you sure Richie is dirt or not? Not. They actually paved there in our times.
No. The paving that later, bro.
Oh, later.
Before that was dirt. That was there, bro.
With the big tamarind tree. With the
and they had a peach in the middle of it there.
Yes. Right
there. They had a peach. That's where Irving Shillingford and them fellas used to do a lot of practicing in the afternoons too. I learned to back facing some of those guys. So I know.
Okay, all right. There's one teacher I forgot though, Mr. Laurent.
Marco Laurent.
Laurent, teacher.
We call him Marco Laurent.
Marco Laurent, yeah.
No, give us the experience that you'd have had at the Roseau Boys School before you get to grammar school.
Roseau Boys School was really, for me, it was the place where I started to take school, as a matter of fact, direction. I always remember that whilst I was going to school, the teachers would single you out if you were a student a student that you had, you were different in that you always paid attention, you asked questions, and you had potential. I think Roseau Boys School was the place that really helped me to assimilate all the knowledge I take from Teacher Rose, coming all the way down, starting to put it together. It was in that place the experience of a teenager in the teenage sort of life, growing up in 10, 11, 12, 13 category, being with the boys there. Of course, there were bigger boys, there were bullies. Well, you know how weak we are now. We call everything bullying. You had strong, big dudes that would take your recess. You would have to fight back. You had all those things going on. Raina and all those guys causing trouble. I just used some of those things there. But in the midst of it, you learn. You became tougher and you became focused. So at Roseau Boys School, we were those who started to focus on what we wanted to do. Now, in the midst of it, we had great skills in sports. We could play football. We could play cricket. That is it. We were great at those sports. We were great. And it was in that place I play a lot of marble hole and nuts right in the yard there. Of course, some of that started all the way in mixed school. You remember that? We forget that. As we were talking, we forget all those things that we started to do. But Roseau Boys School was something I'll never forget. It is in my memory, and I will always remember Demolay. Demolay said something to me, and I never lose it. As a matter of fact, I added to it. Demolay said to me when he was teaching me, "Son, if you stop learning today, you won't be the same person tomorrow." And I took that at heart to the point, brain, when I started teaching, and even now when I teach at Bible schools or I teach classes here, not normal classes like thing, but whatever biblical classes or so. I generally, when I get the opportunity, say to my students, if you graduate today and you stop learning tomorrow, you become a fool the next day. Because the only thing that is constant is the truth of God. Facts are changing every day. Mr. Adams and Cecil, you know that. You grew up and they told you there were 3 states of matter. Go tell somebody that there are 3 states of matter today. Tell them that how many planets it have. They're discovering everything is changing. Everything is changed, so nothing is static. I just use that as a thing, but I will say to you, I told my students and still tell them today, if you learn today, you graduate today, you stop learning tomorrow, you become a fool the next day. So you always have to keep on learning.
So sports and education is what you can really remember blanket in reference to the Roseau Boys School.
No, I can also think of the things that we also had other things. You had other groups, scout groups. You had other stuff, other activities that you would have gotten into. I remember they used to have this steel band. You remember they were teaching you to play steel pan and all those things in those areas there. So I of course learned some other skills. Something I forgot to talk about was when we were talking was Miss Richie, T.O.G. That lady,
yes,
yeah.
This white lady.
Yes. She let me tell you something, man. I still remember T.O.G., man. I still remember Miss Richie, and when she came with all those games, everything that, and all the games were always meant for learning. And not only that, remember she would have taken us in places like in botanical gardens. That's why going back there.
No, that's where actually that's where the club was. At the botanical garden. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm just thinking of all those things. All those things help us.
And Richie, every time I think of TOG, I think outside of Miss Richie, I am always thinking of that big container that would have had everything that we wanted to play. You know what I'm saying? And boys from Boyd's Avenue, boys from Virgin Lane, boys from Fields Lane, boys from Bath Road, just the whole Roseau. Newtown. Just every boy our age had to find themselves at the TOG club.
Yes.
I try to wonder if the platform is still there. Because I think some years ago the platform was there. I'm not so sure if it is still. I must pass to see if that platform is still there.
But Cecil, you know what was crucial about it? You realize the type of skills we developed. First of all, we became, if as young as we were, we learned to be team oriented. We learned certain social skills. We learned over there. Miss Richie was responsible. For me, that was the first place where we came as a social group before scouts, before Girl Guides. That gave you the impetus to join the scouts, to join even the cadets later. All those things. All of these things stemming from what she poured into our lives. I think this lady should have been honored, even though it's after she dead right now. There should be an honor given to Miss Richie. I don't know if she ever got one,
Or
but
maybe,
Miss Richie was responsible.
or maybe somewhere in the Botanic Gardens should be named after Miss Richie.
Yeah,
Especially the areas
something.
where she had so many boys, of our generation,
Yeah,
giving good discipline, as you said, creating some real good team spirit, encouraging us to be
yeah,
positive.
yes. And I think, as you say, there should be a plaque somewhere there
Yeah,
with
I
the
think,
name
yeah.
on it. And we can work on that, folks. We can
Well,
probably push that out there because she was instrumental. Believe me, you know that for bringing so many of us from broken homes, fatherless homes, all that together. You remember when our fathers were running around drinking their rum, doing all what they're doing, and we were finding solace by Miss Richie, bro. I will never forget this lady. She was an anchor. She was somebody that God used to fashion me, and I'm thankful for what I learned because some of those skills I'm using today. Just wanted to share that.
And I'm happy that you could say that, Richo, because I remember having someone some time ago, and we spoke quite a lot about Miss Richie and TOG. We never forgot the work that or the discipline that she instilled in us as boys.
Yes.
Now, at the Rosa Boys School, let me ask, would you remember any of the guys? Would have remembered any of the guys who left the Rosa Boys School in your time and went to the woods, to Zion, as they would say, to the woods, to the forest?
Who became Rastas, Dreads.
from Roosevelt School. You're talking about who are the guys that fell away? That's what you're saying along the
Fell
line.
away and went up to the Zions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Who's that? Warren them?
Yeah.
Warren them guys?
Wa Pokusio.
Yeah, Ocosio. Yeah, yeah. I remember those guys. And there were others with him.
Yes.
There were others.
Yeah.
But these were the two famous ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I must tell you, just to jolt your memory, fast forward. Why is now now big herbalist, and he's living a normal life, and he's going preaching. He's in the now Bingis. He has his
Yes,
own, yeah,
he's always been a Nyabingi
yeah.
for a while.
But he has been
I know.
transformed. If you see him now, you'll hardly believe how he looks.
That's not the guy that we knew
That-
who didn't want to wear shoes and had grass skirts. You remember in those days in the 70s?
yeah. Well, we all were aspiring to become and to do those things. Remember, it was a sort of revolution that was going on. So it was, while Ellen them wasn't the only ones, we joined, some of us joined in that foolishness
Did
at the
you
time.
did, did you ever get into it, Mauricio? Did you ever go into the hills?
Yeah, to a certain extent. My brothers and them, remember Baba and them, Kello and them, were part of it quite a lot. Putting on the grass skirt was a little difficult for me because of the monitors that was around me, but mentally, I had my grass skirts and mentally, I had no clothes.
That's a nice story. I wish you could tell us a little bit more of that, Richo.
Yeah, well, no, but you know what it was, you know what the days were. Um, we all know when it all started, we know what it was. It started off as a genuine cultural phenomenon, people trying to discover their roots. It was a movement, an African movement. It started out first. It started off in with Black Power. Going back there, we all wanted to fight. We all wanted to see South Africa freed. It was all of these things coming together. And in the 70s, remember, it was like a wind of change that was blowing all throughout the Caribbean. And then we had our brothers, and so who were studying overseas, who came with their own influence. And of course, we all joined. And so Rastafarianism came up. Guess what? It didn't start off with war and them guys. It really, some of these things, I'm going to tell you, some of these things were born whilst we were doing poetry and prose, whilst we were standing up and we were shouting, whilst we were still speaking. Some of us were still at school, still speaking about these things because we heard from others and we ourselves did our research. So there was a number of things happening all at the same time. Some of the brothers, when they became Rastas, I'll tell you something, they had not had the same kind of philosophy or understanding of its true roots. They just became Rastas and they just decided, okay, they went astray in their minds and all that thing. And of course, you know that for a fact, we were outliers. They were outliers in society. Okay, they were the counterculture. The counterculture was birthed in the 70s because of a number of things that was happening within the Caribbean, within the South Africa movement, that apartheid that was going on, African Liberation Day, and of course, socialism, communism, socialist Marxism, all of those came together. And out of that, some people went into the bush. Out of that, some people became political activists. Some people became politicians. So I'm just putting it all together. It's a mesh. But it was a mindset, first of all. So it was not the physical manifestation at first with the hair and all that. No, that started happening a long time before that.
Richie, I'm very appreciative of how you actually put it all together to sum it up, to make us understand how that whole process started. A lot of people think that the process started with the hair, and you're saying that from long in terms of our setting at this in the schoolyards, in the Lakous, where we're building up that consciousness, because in the Lakous quite a lot of consciousness was being built.
Yes.
No, Richie, I want to go back a little bit after doing all of your primary school life. It's good to go back home. It's good to go back where you came from, the Lakou that you came from, and the foods that you would have eaten in that Lakou, the amenities that you would have had as a boy growing up in the Lakou.
So you want to laugh, but I'm going to tell you, I was thinking of the Lakou and I laughed because I too carry my slop pail or my tin with my shit in it, my poo-poo. King Kaka was my uncle. Also, I just using our language.
No. I'm happy that you're saying that because I was if you did not mention it, I'd say, but what is King Kaka to you?
Yeah,
I'm happy that you said that.
Yeah, that was my uncle. But you know how.
Hold on, sorry, Richie. Sorry, Richie. What was King Kaka's full name?
Patrick. He was Patrick. So they called him King Kaka. It was Patrick Richards.
Why did name King Kaka? Why was it? Why was it
well,
king?
Because remember what it was like a trade. Remember, he was one of those guys that was going collecting the poop in the carts or carrying it for people and dumping it for a price. So that's what he was doing, making his living. That was the thing that he was doing then. So that's why he was given that name. Yeah.
So continue.
But I want to tell you, I grew up. You were talking about that. My mother was responsible for feeding a whole lot of people in River Street. Mama Sia. My mother used to make ginger beer. My mother used to make bread. My mother used to make cakes. My mother used to feed most of the people in River Street. So my home was a place where people came, even in Hillsborough Street, just to eat. My mother cooked. So I eat my dashing, I eat my feed, I eat my dorme and my mealie. I eat my flying fish. I eat my sauce. I used to eat my black pudding too. Just want you to know that. I eat all my breadfruit and my ground provisions. I eat everything we do in the Lakou, bro. My crab, my sirik, bro. My sirik, I used to love sirik, bro. All those things, all my broth, all those things combined, coming up, growing up. But I want you to know the phenomenon of walking through the Lacous, because I don't know if you ever experienced it. There were a couple of times when there were some accidents, when some slop pails, some people hit their toes and fall over. We were not always happy when our parents tell us we had to take the pails to the riverside. You had to go early in the morning. So I'll tell you where the main dump places was. Down by the jail bushery, right across in River Street, right in the middle of River Street there. You remember where Arthur Jakes and them had their bakery?
Yeah.
There was an old
Yes,
toilet
yes.
and there was a garage right there.
That's
I
correct.
come into you. And
But
the people
we can say
from
that we can say by the E.O. Leblanc, sorry, by the Emmanuel Leblanc bridge.
Bridge, close to there. But I also want to say that most of the people from Virgin Lane and so that would have passed through the gardens, passed through Windsor Merry-Go-Round and Windsor Park, they would come down. And right there by the Windsor Park at the time, there was a wall there and they had steps going down. They would go there. That's where most of them would go and dump. A few people would have dumped just below Secret, generally. But that was the smallest portion that would be going down. So all these things I experienced in the Lakou, bathing in the rain. Okay, we had to carry water. Nobody had running water. Nobody had toilets. Nobody had outhouses. There was none. There were two toilets that I ever built that I know of. One in the same area there by that on Riverbank, and the other one all the way Bapper State, not Bapper State, all the way close to the cemetery. You remember that toilet there?
Yes, on
Between
Bath
the
Road, on Bath Road.
These were the only two that I knew of. Personally, I didn't know of any other place, and they would never. A lot of people didn't go in them.
I should say to you, Richo, that there was another one in our growing up on the bayfront by where the Fortune Hotel is at as we speak.
Yeah, well,
there was one right there
over there.
By the garage.
Yes.
by the garage. Yes.
Yeah, by the garage. But what I was saying is I was saying in the Lakou area itself. Traversing the Lakou area itself. Yeah, remember you could walk from Riverbank all the way to that toilet if you wanted, and come from that area and walk all the way down to that other toilet if you wanted. So that was it. But there was no running water. And I'm going to tell you something, Cecil. In those days, people, there was nothing like shame. You'd be passing in the Lakou, and the lady would be washing herself. A piece of cloth hanging up. And after a while, because some people started to get misbehave, they asked the owners of the land, and so bycads started to come up. I'm using the word bycad to protect and to keep them there. But, in my days, you'd walk through, you'd see people taking their shower, sponging, bathing, and you're walking right through the Lakou.
Were they bathing naked?
But nobody...
Were they naked? Were they bathing naked with that little curtain just hanging up?
Well, the older people would probably be washing themselves, have their underwears on them. But the younger ladies, man, look, I live in River Street. I used to be tutuni, a lot of tutuni, man. A lot of us bathe. We bathe naked.
Tutuni.
And after a while, it stopped because your parents started to think. But a lot of us, we knew how that was it. We were not caring. As a matter of fact, if you look at our clothes, We had our pants, most of our pants, we had no surface on our pants, our butts outside in that their pants torn, running around the place, you virtually naked, you know, to that same thing, your shirt on or no shirt on you, running around with big holes in your pants, everything hanging out. Who cares? That was how it was.
Everything
We were a
exposed.
different society then.
Everything exposed, Richie. Just running around exposed.
Yeah, but then the thing is, we were not. You see, I want to say that seductive spirit that now has captured our people now. That wasn't. We were not concentrating on that. We were more concentrating in how you could go play some football. The women thinking of how to play some skip and hopscotch, and singing, doing all those things. A ring a rosy. You're doing all those things. You playing your games. You're doing those things. That was the furthest from your mind.
But what
Not
was
that you wouldn't have your little cheeks on the side,
when
but it
you
was the
say,
furthest thing from your mind.
you mean having sexual encounter at that time was not in your mind at all. You're more
No,
focusing
that
on
wasn't in our minds at the
more
time. Well, for
socialization.
me, I would have to put a little question mark, but in those days. But but
Okay.
I am just saying, because that's what it is. The truth is, you were growing up and you grew up around. So you were more protective of your neighbors. You saw your neighbors as your sisters. You were more protective of that. If a guy came from another place and he started to talk to one of your friends there, and she's a girl, what Mr. One? Everybody coming up, bro, leave her alone. You stand. That was it. Didn't mean there was another infidelity happening in between. Sleep under the tree, behind the big stone, across by the tree, in the grass, in the bush. Yeah, we still, of course, but it wasn't our focus, to
No,
be
no, no,
honest.
no, Richo, in all of this socialization, food, meals came into play. What kind of meals would you all have had? You would have had at that time?
I want to say something, and I want to say it, knowing it quite well. One of the blessings I had, although I grew up in the poor parts, I never eat like a poor person, and I do not mean it in no derogative manner. My mother, my mother was a chef. My mother worked in Cherry Lodge Hotel. My mother cooked for the governor, and my mother cooked for the Mates, Afi Mate and them. So my mother was the one doing this. Okay, so I always ate some of the best meals. So, for example, when they bring all the labi and the lobster and all the things you would have to go and buy, you know how our parents would do. A portion would come home. So I would eat, a little portion was always, your parents would always have a portion for you coming home.
But you
And
lucky,
so
you lucky your mother die, boy.
You had lambi.
so the truth is, a lot of people, Vincent Eunice will tell you, a lot of people, you'd be surprised. All the people, a lot of people used to come home, and my mother would just cook, and so I ate very, very well. I ate very, very well, and bro, there was a discipline. After 6 o'clock, there was no heavy food. You had your tea, whether it was a bush tea or something, and you go to bed. You had a good breakfast, a great lunch, and it was your tea. Now, the thing is, I never find myself eating the same food every day.
Wow.
She was always, it would be a broth here, you know, saltfish there, a pilau. Remember the pilau, folks? We cannot forget pilau. The pilau here, you know. Then you'd have your other meal, whatever, all in one together. And then you'd have on Sunday your meat with your red peas, your red beans, all the stuff. So I ate
Oh
very,
my,
very healthy.
oh my miss, boy,
So I had all that.
you
Drink
were
all my cacao tea. Huh?
you were bourgeois eating man. You had the
Well,
lobsters, lamb, beef.
I'm being honest with you. This is one thing I always say. And I'm not saying there are people who will concur with what I'm saying. So I never quiet to eat. Secondly, my mom, bro, my mom was industrious. So my mom was baking cakes. My mom was also making tablets. Shodo, bro. Today I'm longing for shodo. My mom used to make shodo. These kinds of stuff that you don't see people make now. The genuine shodo. My mom would take um, pink grapefruit, the white of the pink grapefruit, whip it up and make not just the marmalade with it, but make a drink with that, bro. You know, she would use Guinness and Stout and all those things. So all those things, Cecil, I ate very, very well. In so, I never really got sick. The only time I got sick was when I attempted to drink water that was coming straight from my where the gut. You remember the gutter by Roseau Girls School, the big
Yeah,
gutter that's coming down there.
yeah.
We were playing cricket with tin, and the game was so thin I didn't want to think. The water was fun, the old black water. I go and I put my hand in that and I drink that and I end up getting typhoid fever, stayed in the hospital for about a week. And then, of course, because of how I was eating, because in those days was almost a death sentence, I recovered quickly. I never, ever went to the hospital ever again, except a couple years ago.
No, Richo, in all of this, we tend to always remember the life of the river and the sea. What was yours like?
Yes. Oh, mine. Look, the river was in my backyard. The sea was just down the road. So I want you to know how crazy we were. There were times when the river would be coming down and we'd take tube and try to cross it. That's one. I grew up in the river. I grew up swimming. Not only in close in Roseau. Remember, we'd have run all the way up to Palm Grove, take a shower there, or if not, we stop at Silver Lake or on the Power or Sequoia or Free Sisters. That was the place we spend a lot of time swimming, fishing. And guys, as we fishing and we swimming, we have our matches, we have our tin, okay, to make a quick jot. You know, you catch a couple crayfish, you shock a dummy, you do that kind of thing there. You know, you look for a banana, a wild banana right there, you pull up somebody feed, you buy seafood and them there. You go across the river there, Horsey Wheelie and all those guys, you take their stuff. So the river, and you remember in the river there was a spot close there, close to the Windsor Park. We used to call it Big Stone. There's a huge stone and a big bass there. We bathed there. We showered there. I bathed down in Jelbushi, man. We used to cool with lamb. I don't know if you know what that is, Cecil.
What?
We cool with lamb.
You asking me that? Well, you don't count what I do in Roseau that time. If I know it's cool, so what happened when you was cooling lamb? Did you use buffalo, or you make your own surf?
But look, I'll tell you something. Anything we get, okay, we were not specializing in anything. You see people doing something. You see a piece of tree, a dry piece of tree there. You take it. You see a piece of wood there. Anything. But buffalo would be the preferable thing. But we cool with lamb. Not only that, we used to disobey our parents. We used to go on the jetty. And you remember when the tourist ship come, they would throw quarters and we would be diving.
Mm-hmm.
I was part of that too.
I was telling
On
someone,
Roseau Jetty.
about 2 weeks ago, I was telling someone that, that on the Roseau
Yes,
Jetty, we,
Roseau Jetty.
a lot, especially the generation if they're listening now, that the Roseau Jetty is exactly where the ferry terminal is,
It's right,
as we
right,
speak.
right, right.
Yes,
Exactly where the ferry terminal is. It was not built, not how the ferry terminal is built. As a matter of fact, the ferry terminal is maybe 10 times better than
Larger.
that. Larger than that area.
So
Yes, Richard.
you dove for money
and
then.
guess how? I learned to. Most of us learned to swim. I don't know if you were one of them. I learned to swim. My mother used to warn me. I come from church, and you did a tourist boat there, so you're there. It's somebody that pushed me from his shoe and everything right there. Casse Court wasn't wrong. Casse Court that bring me up. Because Casse Court was there diving for coins.
Someone, Richard, hold on a while. Hold your foot a while. I suspect I have someone on the line who is going to maybe endorse what you say. Good evening to you. Caller, good evening.
Yes, good evening. How are you?
Fine.
Good evening.
Yes, Richo, I'm listening to you. I'm surprised you forgot there was a toilet right by Technical Wing entrance there where they're the Carnival City. As soon as you finish play sports in Winter Park, when you want to let go your load,
Yes.
that's where you have to go. How come you forgot that? And you better be careful
Yes.
to say that I'm into you, okay?
No, that's good. That's good. You just put me in remembrance, bro. Because I don't think I ever used that, man. I used to go in the bush or in the river, bro.
Well, there was one right there, right behind
Yes,
Technical
you're
Wing
right.
entrance. So check it out. Yeah. And by the
You're
way, let me
right.
tell
You're
you
right.
before you forget,
I'm just thinking.
I will
You're
do for
right.
my leaves.
Correct.
For my leaves, you promised me, okay? I'm listening. Thank
Yep.
you.
All right.
Oh, okay.
That's a panel you play football to with Ken's bro. That's what I'm telling you. So let's go back a bit as you were speaking of your the foods that you ate and the things that you were doing, and you were talking about swimming now. You pushed at the on the port,
By the jetty, yeah.
on the jetty.
Yes.
Yes, and you were talking about Cassicot.
Yep. No, I was saying Cassicot. Remember when the tourists come, Cassicot always used to be around there diving for coins. He was a one. So I got pushed. We see what was happening, and then guess what? We start to develop our thing. We decide we're going to try to. Oh, you remember we call it lalin. So you start to practice how to hold your breath. We call it lalin, and we became experts at holding our breath and going diving deep because of course by the time everything happened, developed enough, I was able now to dive and go down because by the terminal, that jetty wasn't as deep. It wasn't very, very, very deep. That's the thing about it. But we learned that, man. Lalin. We would hold our breath. I want to tell you something before that, Cecil. When they were building the wall where the nuns, I call it, where the nuns first put that tall building, you remember the first set of skyscrapers we had,
Right.
apart from
Apartments, the apartment buildings.
Yeah.
the apartment buildings here where Robert Thomas and them used to live,
Yes,
Mean Cheese
yeah.
Mile, all those guys.
The
live
low blacks
right
also,
there.
the low blacks.
Levi Low Black, the Low Black, and them end up living there. Yeah, when they were building the wall, I want to tell you how crazy we were. Whilst they were building the wall, these guys had rebar because what they did was they push out the river to a thing, and the river was still seeping under. And in the midst of the rebar and dirty water, you wouldn't believe we used to swim in that. We used to go there and swim in that. We used to call it our pool. And nobody got hurt with rebar and everything in between this thing. It was crazy what we used to do. Very, very crazy. Again, for you to pass tests, you have to be able to hold, you have to have your lalin, you have to be able to hold your breath. Because that's the only way you could come out. You have to swim underneath to come out because there was like a hole and you had to come out in it.
And before the Deepwater Harbor was built, this area was actually where we're talking about on the bayfront there, was actually housing where the Roseau City
Greenland,
Council,
yeah.
where the Roseau City Council building is.
Oh, there is it. Yeah, there was
There was actually the office of the the customs.
Yeah.
customs, yeah.
Yes, there was this
Yeah,
big brown
yeah.
building.
Julie Mate father
Yeah,
used to be there.
yeah,
So that whole area was very industrial.
Very industrial.
Yeah,
it was.
it's totally changed now. Yes, there's roads. So persons who are passing there would not even know that as all of these goods and all the goods that were coming to Dominica were actually housed in that area where Isa Trading has its building now.
Yeah.
It was just a place that in growing up that we as boys would lime. Is lime the proper word?
Yeah, lime. Yes, lime.
I don't think lime. No, I don't think it was lime.
Or run
We would
Kawat.
count in the area.
We were cowards. That's what it was. Cowarting around the place. Your parents didn't know where you were.
No, Richo.
When they think you're around the yard, you buy bata. You're in those kind of places.
Did you ever stow away to go to Martini? Did you ever stow away to go to Calypso? Did you stow away to go and watch cricket?
So let me say this to you, man. I used to live when I was living in Hillsborough Street. Pete was right behind there, man. So Pete was close to me. Of course I stow away, bro. Who didn't stow away? Who didn't jump the walls, man? Of course I stow away. Stow away to go and watch games, football and cricket. In the gardens, I used to stow away all the time, bro. When the cricket was on, in the Windsor Park, stow away. And one of the places that we used to do a lot of stowing right behind the Roseau Girls School.
To get inside of Windsor Park to go and see football.
To go and see football, yeah, I'm telling you, yeah. Right there. A whole lot of stowing, man.
Whoa.
And sometimes you would stow away, they would see you jump in the wall because you would go up in grammar school, you see that higher ground up there, right? You remember they always.
Yes.
So you would this is what we used to do. We'd separate, we'd have a couple of us distract the guard. So you'd be going over there because some guys jumped in the wall. And what's his name, man? I can still see him,
You're talking about Ferguson?
Ferguson, yes, and there was another one.
Angelo?
He was short and thick. Big belly, His name.
Jojo? He was a defense forcer?
Yes.
Jojo.
Yes, get it.
Jojo.
Yeah.
So we did a distraction and fellas jump down and run. So yes, bro, there wasn't nothing. All these things was part of what helped shape the culture, man.
You made any two back?
Bro, for Buzai, it was Buzai that used to come and look for you? No. Was it Buzai?
Buzai. Then you had that fella, Mr. Gregor, Gregor's father was an officer as well. Yeah, they come and check you out.
Yeah, they come look for you. It was difficult for me. It was difficult for me to make two back. It was difficult for me to make two back. I never wanted to make two back at school. I'll tell you, the reason is that I used to fear what the punishment would have been, number one. And because my mother was well known, everything. No two back for me. I never know myself ever making two back. As a matter of fact, I hated two back because I used to discipline the kids that would do it when I used to teach. I never believed in it.
Okay.
But if you ask me, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, if you ask me if we ever go and take people cane and people stuff like that and so on, of course,
you ever read
all
it?
the time.
I want you to tell us about the raids.
You made raids?
Who didn't make raids? No, man. I even read my grandfather. My grandfather Garden, man. Seaforth Garden right by the bay. Go bois. I read that. I read Horsey Wheelie right there. We would go all the way, bro. We'd go all the way going up to Palm Grove. We read in gardens right there. We'd go in gardens and red gardens, bro. In gardens was the first place I started with things like mangosteen and lychee. You know, cass in gardens, bro. And go at the back there. Remember at the back there, all the cherries and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the stuff that was there? Bro, you're joking, man. The oranges and the whole thing in the agricultural part. 25 steps, bro. They had bread nut tree there. People didn't know what that was. Yeah, man. Cannonball, you remember all those things? Yeah. Of course I made plenty raids, bro. All in Kingsville. We go all Kingsville and make raids. Yeah, man. All the way
What about
south,
Glasgow?
Parliament,
Glasgow.
Darlington, and Concord.
Glasgow.
Glasgow. Mango. You must go Glasgow for mangoes, bro. Of course.
Crossing
We
across,
went all over,
crossing to Mount Daniel.
right? Definitely, bro. All over the place. Bro, and guess what? We are walking on no road. It was always a path. Some we create, some that was already created. Because you know the people in Fonkole, the heights of Fonkole already had the thing, so you just follow the path. Yeah, man. Who didn't make raids, man? The only good thing about it at the time, nobody was looking to kill you.
Very interesting.
Richie,
Let me ask you, well, Cecil,
go ahead.
now you are left the Roseau Boys School, you've passed your common entrance, you're getting into the grammar school. You never told us about your life in the grammar school. What happened there, Richie?
Oh, my life in the grammar school was a great life, man. I went to school, and in the grammar school, again, I happened down. So I'm going to tell you what happened to me in the grammar school. There are a number of things I looked at. I went to school, of course, went all the way, passed my GCAs, did very well, and all that. But in the process, that's where the whole getting involved in the culture. It was a place where we developed a cultural, I want to call it a cultural aptitude. I got involved in poetry. I got involved in drama. Alwyn Bully, remember, you had Alwyn Bully. Well, don't talk about sports. I was playing both cricket and football. And then I also got involved in tech wing. I used to go to the tech wing, although I wasn't a student per se. I would go to the tech wing to learn when I had free time some carpentry work. And I'll tell you, it worked for me even today. Remember when Norman built that first kind of boggy? I don't know if people realize that guy Norman had built a boggy in that could drive on the road in Tech Wing. But we'll come back to that. But grammar school was a place of challenges. You met great teachers. But it was also a place of where we became radicalized. Let me put it in that way. It was in grammar school that all this black power, all this Rastafarian thing, all this, I'm just saying, all this socialism all came together, like I said earlier on. You remember at the time, you remember what was going on at the time with Patrick John and so on. If you had flats, if you had your ice green and gold, you were in trouble. But remember, it also kicked off that thing where the protest was, golf must go. Then we started to protest around about, I don't know, Brady, if you were part of that protest of wearing ties. We say we didn't want to be English people no more. We started to protest, take on the tie, put the tie there like a tie strip first before it was accepted. So a number of things happened in between. But in that place, I met many friends, I must say. I developed many skills and I learned, I must say. DGS, of course, there was a pride about it. And remember, the athletics, there was a time athletics. I was in BG as a BG. BG. You, Brain, what you, UPN or what?
No, Skinner and then Domini.
Your Skinner and Dominic.
Yeah.
So that was it. So I said, where you were? You were in
No,
SMA.
he was
I was
SMA.
SMA St. George's,
It was
the
SMA.
greatest house ever.
So Richo, you were part of that movement with Shaw and all those guys. You met Shaw.
Yes. Yes. We were all part of it. And remember Baba Richards, my brother, all
Yeah.
of them. It was all the movement there. We were all involved in this movement. It was a movement that happened with a lot of us. Randy, the Shilling, just name it, man. It was a melting pot right there. So, yeah.
I think, Richo, the listeners would like, and those who are viewing and listening, they would like to know exactly what you're talking about in that period of Dominica Grammar School. Students become very radical.
Who did you meet?
Well, again, it was in the.
Who did you meet? Who oriented you? Because you're in first form, you're a little boy, second form, third. Who did you meet in that? Where did you pick up that revolution?
Well, you had a number. One of the things that was happening in grammar school at the time. You remember that area where the guys used to do karate, where you would probably that area, the way the place was, you had the hostel, and under the hostel you
There's
had
that empty spot, yeah.
empty spot.
Dada used to be there doing karate.
Yes, Dada and a number of other people would be there, doing karate. To tell you the truth, all of our influence really started. One of them, I'll tell you straight, people going to be shocked. Alwyn Bully dealing with culture, kind of stuck something in us. That's one. Number two, Para Riviere and all those guys, you had certain meetings going on under that little area there, sometimes in the afternoons, not in class. You had a whole lot of guys, man, to tell you the truth, to point out one or the other. You'd listen to the guys that came up. Some of them, they went to the universities and they came back and they would be having lectures. And so you were stimulated with all those things. And I think that's where we started that. And then we started to do our own research. It wasn't just listening to them. We started to do research for ourselves. We wanted to understand what was being said and what was going on. Because at the time, you had that whole apartheid thing going on. And there it was. And so all of these things came together. But there were a number of people that influenced us. Ruzi, all those guys, they influenced us one way or the other. Afi Mate, a number of guys, not directly in school, but around school.
So Richo, in that period, reading of comics and the reading of the grandma, how much of that it really influenced guys like you in those early days?
But that's what we had. Archie, we couldn't forget our Archie, our Silver Surfer. We all will. As a matter of fact, it is because some of the things, I'm going to say something to you. We read comics. And it was an interesting thing because we used to exchange comics. So comics was like the big thing. You see now you have the internet and everybody on TikTok and everybody on things. We used to exchange comics because it was fun to read about Jughead. It was fun to read about Silver Surfer, Captain America, all the things we see.
Vietnam War.
So that also,
and Vietnam War.
And the Vietnam War. So we get all this thing came in all the cartoons. What it helped to do also is it helped us to develop our own comprehension and writing skills. So you notice, I'll tell you that a number of us became proficient writers. So some of us went on to do poetry, some of us went on to do prose, some of us became playwrights, some of us, we could do almost anything, as opposed to now, folks. Comprehension was something we got from that. So it helped to develop us and prepare us for a time as that, not just now. So as Adams became a teacher, all those things, now you could take some of those things and use them in the classroom. Why? Because now students, the people who had them, could now do what? They were familiar with them. So when I used to teach, I used things that were familiar to the people. So yes, I love my comics. Baba, my brother, was a big comic collector.
And also, Richo, in that period, we saw the consciousness of, you said, apartheid. But at that period, a lot of young boys became very much into the socialist ideology because of the grandma. Cuba had
Yes,
just moved away
yes,
in its revolution to move away from the United States of America, the embargo of the United States of America. How that
yeah.
itself helped you in thinking of your politics of tomorrow, the politics of the next day. How did that shape you?
All these activities and events definitely help, because number one, we were able to read. The newspapers were coming. You remember we could go by CD
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
pick up a copy of, to read. So that especially you'd get your comics there too. But you were able to get stuff like that. So what again? These are the things that kind of influence us. We didn't have social media as people had now, but truth. And you had other guys, you had people who came, who shared, and we did our research in the best way. And it helped because that apartheid thing was already hurting us. So we saw that when the US was refusing to take action, and on BBC we were listening, remember the shortwave radios?
Yeah.
We were getting our information there also. And we were hearing of the atrocities and we were hearing the things that was happening. What did we do? We decided, we started to formulate in our minds, hey, what it is. And then when it came to the Caribbean, we took it personal. We took it personal for Cuba and we took it personal about Grenada. We took it personal. So in so doing, that helped shape what we believe. Because again, not only that, we were students of history. Remember, we were doing history, the making of the West Indies. We all read some of that. But we were also challenging some of the things we saw. We were telling our teachers and our professors, hey, no, Columbus didn't discover nothing. He met people there. You cannot discover if people were already living there. So we recognized that kind of language was coming from Europe. It was the influence of the Renaissance. That's what they were trying to teach us, because they wanted to form an icon, give us an idea to keep us as people held in colonialism. And we refused to do that. We decided we no longer wanted to be any change. And because of that, we saw what was going on in South Africa. We read about what was going on in Cuba, and we got the information. And then we looked at what was happening within our country and the things they were agreeing to and what they wanted to facilitate, because they wanted to agree with those other people out there that was oppressing Cuba and those who had affected Grenada. And all of this came together. Remember, we were reading about Che Guevara at school. Remember Simon Bolivar. So we had all that history. And then, more than that, our own history, our Bala here. We started to read our history about Jacko. We started to do all those things about those who stood and fight against those who were slave masters, the slaves who rebelled. And we were doing this in two ways. We were learning in school whilst we were actually involved in theater. And so, whilst doing theater, we were expressing those very things. So they became an information source to us, and they influence our core behavior and our
But
political
let me ask you a question.
mindset.
But you can see the history that you're pointing out in the making of the West Indies, and you're hearing about the European history, you're hearing about all these, what I call revolutionary theories. You're being radicalized, one would say, for want of a better word,
Yeah,
at school, and you're doing more research in terms of wanting to bring social change. But that got you in trouble, Richo. The authorities
well, yeah.
saw you all as an attempt to overthrow the status quo. How did you banter that? Because here are a bunch of revolutionaries out there wanting to bring a kind of Cuba within the Caribbean space. How did society, how was it shaping up for you at school? Was it heat on you or what?
Yeah, it was heat on all of us that was involved in this. There was the natural heat. Police came, you know. Remember at one time they were taking your literature as civil. You had how you call it
Subversive literature.
yeah, right, that kind of literature. They were saying they would be searching your bag. All these things because we became mad because the people at the helm of our political government or govern those that were doing governance, they themselves wanted to be in line with the colonial forces. We became a counterculture. And so you became marked. My brother Anthony Totti, quiet as he was, led a big revolution in SMA against the brothers. Just to, and so many others were with him in that because he was the head boy. So all of us, yes, we were targeted. And I want you to understand something. We were performing. We were dealing with politics loud on my Piper step. My Piper step was one. What happened here?
No, you're good. You're good.
You're good.
No,
You
you're
see.
good. You're good.
See
You're
you.
good.
Go on.
You seen me?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
What I'm on my Piper step. What were you
Yeah.
doing there?
Yeah. On my Piper step, I just want to share with you. My Piper step and the old trade union place were places we got, and we were able to use these platforms to speak against the governing foolishness. I want to put it nice. Against colonialism, against the thinking that we couldn't be free enough. And so we did that openly. We did it with prose. We did it with poetry. We did it doing little skits. And so we were there pushing the ideology of being free from colonial bondage in that manner. And in so doing, we became targets.
So what?
There were some people, just before you
Go ahead.
there was some of us, there were some people that went too far. There were some people that went too far. And we talk about some people that didn't understand what it was, what all of this socialism and Rastafarianism and all this thing was. And some people did some foolish things, and as a result, the pressure was on us. But we were able to overcome it, because the truth is we never gave them the opportunity to get to us
Someone's on the telephone
in the
line.
manner.
Someone's on the telephone line. Good evening to you, caller.
Hi, how you doing, sir?
Fine.
Fine.
I just want to say hi to Richo.
Hi, who's that?
How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing very, very well, bro. I cannot complain. I just,
Is a River Street
I'm
man?
doing well.
Is a River Street man calling you?
The River Street man calling you.
Isaac.
Wait,
Isaac. That's your partner, Isaac.
My partner, you telling me my partner Isaac, he was the how you call it, of the house?
No. The brother. That's the one that's the Bajan Isaac.
Oh, okay. Hey, Isaac, what's up?
Am I right, man? Better known as Eddie.
Eddie, man. Okay, Eddie, I get you. Eddie, what's up?
I'm all right, my
So
brother.
good to hear you, man.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, it's been a
Keep
while,
up
but
the good
I'm
work, my
hoping
brother.
to be home soon. Huh?
He said, keep up
Say
the good
keep
work.
up the good work.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I will.
No. Thank you, caller. Now, what did you make? Because you're talking about in the 70s. What did you make of Patrick John and Libla? What did you make of the both? Two different people, two different personalities.
Two different people. I want to say something. Libla took us. E.O. Libla was a people's person. And I want everybody to know this. He was a people's person. That's how I saw him. And he was taking us from that transition of colonialism and was bringing us into statehood so that we would come to that place where we would eventually get our independence. He was a statesman extraordinaire. People can say, I don't know how people would think of him. I always think of him as a wonder. I don't have anything bad to say about him, because there is, and I don't say anything bad even about Patrick John. I'll just talk about his mistakes. That doesn't mean it's anything. But E.O. Libla saw the people. He was for the people. He helped the poorer people as much as he could. Because he had a restraint, right? The restraint was always, he was under the governorship. So there was so much he could have done being under the Commonwealth of England at the time. But Patrick John was another interesting thing. Patrick John was a wonder and a disappointment to me for a while. In that, he was a man of the people. He was always the man of the people. But then he got misled. I think that's what happened to him. I think in the end he got misled. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. I think he allowed that Guyanese, what's his name?
Burnham.
Leo Austin.
And Leo Austin.
Leo Austin. He allowed Leo Austin to influence him. And so what happened to him, the people loved him. But then he wanted to consolidate power in a way. I don't know if he was trying to, whatever system he was trying to implement. I was wishing one of these days I'd be able to speak to him, but he passed on, to find out what exactly he was trying to achieve. Because he did a lot for the poor people. But then he became, because of the pressures, and of course I want you to understand, on the other side, you had the bourgeoisie that was coming down his neck. You had the people that was figuring, hey, this guy that born in the Lakou, should not have been. But that's what fascinated me, because he was. But then he drank some poison. And when I say drank some poison, the advisors, knowing it, the advice that he got, he left what his purpose and his mission and his vision was. And he became, the people who surrounded him were the people to whom he was actually reaching out to, and he lost his focus with the people. But other than that, he was still a great leader.
Let's take a call quickly. Good evening.
Yes, man. If Patrick don't get misleaded from the time he passed the dread act, because he knew it was on the approach. So that his first time he crossed the boundary. And
Yes.
So is that Papa Dread talking
Yes.
there? All right.
Your brother had talking.
All right, yeah. No, Richie. Let's go back. So now we have dealt with the grammar school and dealt with the social life and so on. You are now an employer somewhere. Where did you work first?
You mean in Dominica?
Yes.
I taught. The first thing I do was I taught at a very young age. So I taught for a long time. So the places you want to know, I taught at the Roseau Boys School. I also was a pioneer for the Nehemiah Comprehensive School, being one of the first teachers there. I'm going to shock you, Cecil. I was the only, at the time, Christian individual that ever teach at St. Mary's Primary. And in teaching there, I got an opportunity to teach at first form in SME a couple times. That. I also teach at Newtown Primary School. Yeah. So teaching was my thing.
So thinking of you as a teacher, and a few years before you were on the other side as a student, but having some rebellious attitudes towards change and radicalism, how did you now visualize your students at that time and next generation, a new generation? How did you look at them and what did you say to them in terms of the attitude that you're now starting to portray to you?
The truth is, Cecil and Adams, Brain, I'll say this to you as a man. You know that most of my students loved me. And that is something I'll start off with that. One of the things I was able to do, number one, because I experienced some of the stuff that I experienced. Oh, I wanted to tell you something, Brain, something I didn't say to you. One of the ways they tried to get at me, I wanted to say, is I was arrested for and accused for burning poppies. I spent time locked up for burning poppies. That was one of the false accusations that they brought against me. Only to find out it was a setup, and then they had to let me go the next day. That was because of all the things we were being involved in. We were watched. And so finally, somebody was gunning for me, and they accused me of burning poppies.
Where was poppies at that time, the location?
Across from Rockaway, just, where they were there. They had that industrial place down there, the industrial estate, all the way down at the back there.
Okay, so I was asking about the students and you as a teacher.
Yes, so I come back to the students. I just hit that because I wanted to share that. Okay, so the students, what I was able to do is to use my own experience. I'll tell you why I get into teaching. Cecil, I could have gone into medicine if I wanted or anything else. I choose teaching because I saw at one time the disadvantage. I saw too many of my own friends those my peers not making it to the schools, the high schools. I didn't understand why. And then I realized most of them did not really fail. It was a quota. So most of them didn't make it high enough. And so they didn't reach the quota. And I decided to get into teaching to push them to be able to do excellent. And so with all the experiences that I had, one of the things I always did, I was able to empathize. I had empathy and sympathy and to understand their background. So in teaching, I always was given, most of the time, the most robust guys. I was small, I was young like them, and I have the robust guys. But I was always able to get their attention. One of the things I was always able to do was to teach them the value and the necessity of being educated. And I did it in several ways. I always use me. So I use me as a parameter. I use me to say, here I am. Look at me. Remember the stigma of being born in River Street? Being born in Fonkole, coming from Newtown, coming from Baytown.
No one will trust you.
You know that kind. Huh?
No one will trust you.
Right.
By their things.
So first of all,
they will not trust you by their things. They won't trust you by their money. They will not trust you by their property. Nothing at all.
Right. So that stigma was there. So now a Roseau boys, a Roseau, River Street boy, now teaching at those schools. What do you think I'm going to do? I could not tolerate failure. And my kids, the kids that I taught, they are men now. Some of them reach out to me sometimes with tears and thankfulness. My wife will tell you. Just saying, thank you, Richie, for you, because you cared. I was always a caring person. I always had this desire to teach. I was always a teacher. So what I did was 1, value. Number 2, value. Number 3, value. Number 4, character. Number 5, character. Number 6, character. Number 7, you cannot tell me you can't. I never accepted I can't. So I would be hands-on. I'll give you a joke. I was teaching a class on geography. And the students asking questions. And I say, you know what? I tell the principal, I'm going to take them out. I was supposed to go in the gardens. I go to seaweed. Can I tell you something? I take the boys to seaweed. Because we learn in rock formation. I take them to seaweed. Take them by the river. Pick up my rocks, do my classes, and then the guys in the midst of it, they're looking at the river. So can we bathe? I say, but you guys don't have clothes, man. That was the wrong thing I say. Everybody just take up all their and jump and come back out and walk back and go to class. I'll tell you that the next day, when I start to speak about rocks, they understood right there because of the practical environment. These were some of the things I did. Because I wanted them not only to learn theory, I wanted them to be practical, hands-on students. And so I always paid attention to them. So when they gave me students that couldn't read or write, and when they had school leaving exams and they were the ones coming out at the top, you know the pride that went into my heart. So that's what I did. And then I also taught them their own history and the reason why. I told them poverty was not acceptable. Where you are, that is not acceptable. You have to work to get out of it. So they learn work ethic also. So a number of them did well. Yeah.
From teaching, what did you do next?
And also, I want you to understand something. I was very instrumental in adult education in Dominica and throughout the Caribbean. Shout out to Grace Ostry. Well, I don't know if Medina's still alive. Some of these people were. So I also, just before I answer that, I just want to answer, we were very, very, very,
Medina,
very instrumental.
Detush?
Yeah.
They too.
She's still alive. She's
Still
no
alive.
Medina Jumin. She's
Yeah,
still alive.
okay.
She's in the States.
All right. Yeah. A number of us, I just called these two, there are a number of us. We were responsible for developing, not only just doing adult education here, but we developed a curriculum throughout the Caribbean. So I had an opportunity to travel to a couple countries, Navy send kits, Barbados and those places to help formulate that. So we developed a curriculum for adult education. I was very, very involved in helping with adult education. I think it was necessary, and I'm thankful that I did. So what was the question?
The next job that you entered into from
I work
teaching.
with communications. I work with communications and works at the time when they were doing all the feeder roads up in Salisbury. So some Salisbury by Margarine. You probably know Margarine in Salisbury.
Yeah, I know her.
I lived by Margarine. Up there when they were doing feeder roads up in Salisbury, Cowham, St. Joseph, Lakou, those areas there. I work with Dan Shillingford. I also help. I was probably one of the first people to help his accounting in Makushri, from Makushri factory. I was one of the first workers there also, helping him to run the factory. So I got that opportunity with him. Yes, I also work with forestry for a short while. I got into it because I wanted to go and check out the whole parrot thing. So I got with Felix Gregoire at the time, and yes, a number of other people, and I worked with them for a short while. I did a short stint with Social Security, CC, CC, we call her CC, River Street Girl. She used to be running and being a director there at the time. And of course, for sure, I work at Cable and Wireless. Well known for working at Cable and Wireless.
Everyone
But I
knows.
work at other.
Everyone, when you ask about Ritual, they only say to you, Ritual at Cable and Wireless.
How long did you stay?
Yes.
How long did you stay at Cable and Wireless?
Maybe about 3 or 4 years. Cecil is the one that got me in trouble. No, I just I'm just joking.
No, Rich.
Actually, my stint at Cable and Wireless ended, and I will say this to you, when there are a couple of people who were poor, a couple of people couldn't afford a call. Every now and then I would slide some people in, and I think one person, I assisted one person that had a desperate situation. Their mom had passed away, and their sister was in Barbados, and they didn't have a means to make a call then. And I really didn't want to do it, but listening to the cry and all, empathizing, okay, I say, okay. But the foolish thing about it is, after the call went through and a couple of days after, the person came and asked for me at Cable and Wireless. And they got my supervisor that asked, okay, you asked for Michael or Clement. Do you want me to pass on a message? And guess what they did? They relayed me a fact that I gave them a call. And it was heartbreaking for I felt heartbroken, and it was heartbreaking for my supervisor, because I was a very, very good worker there. But then they had to take the decisions they had to take. So That's how I stopped working at Cable and Wireless.
When you look at what was then with communication in Dominica and the region by extension, where do you think we are now as a state, as a country with communication?
I am going to say something to you that's going to shock you. I boast about Dominica. There are places in America that do not have internet. Let me say this to you. In the 21st century, going to the 22nd century, there are places in the United States, large swaths of the United States, with no internet connection. Number one. Number two, I always boast that at our speeds, I always tell them, and I say to the people, guess what? Dominica, in Dominica, we were the first set of people that could call wherever we want and connect wherever we wanted in the world, okay? I tease them with that. You say, what? Where's that? I say, it's a small country in the Caribbean. As a matter of fact, I think we still facilitate a number because when we ran our internet, we ran fiber optic. Surprising, Cecil, that most of the developed cities in the United States still run copper. So understanding that just tells you they have limits on their speed. We have, and we ran, our speeds, we have limitless access. So a number of 1-800 numbers that you see, some of them are bought from places like Dominica. Some people don't even know that, but I know.
Repeat that, Richie. I want to get that clear into my database.
Yes, some of their 1-800 numbers that you see they do not originate from America. Some of them originate from places like Dominica and the other places that ran their internet differently. We are not copper. We are not limited. That is why I'm going to tell you something. That is why you see most call centers are not located in the United States. If they do, they would not have the capacity to fulfill all the calls. They
But
do
that
what they
must be.
ran.
I can imagine people hearing this at this time must be opening their eyes widely, and maybe
Yes,
saying, I wonder what Richie is saying if he's correct.
No, let them check, because I can tell you, I know. I worked in cable and wireless, and then I worked with a company doing some of the stuff, and sooner or later I'll share with you some things on that technology. Understand it only now. Now, let me say it to you again, Cecil. Most of the cities and most places in America that have internet, they do not have, I just see it there, it just slipped my mind. They do not have fiber optic. They have copper, pure copper. Now, in some of the developments, they are now running, where I live now, they are now running fiber optic cable. But sometimes they're taking most of it from copper nodes. So you're not getting pure fiber optic. So Dominica, when it comes to communications, Dominica was way and is way more advanced in terms of fiber optic and the ability to use the internet if we have. And I'm going to share something later with that geothermal. We'll come to it because I have something to say about that.
No, Richo. You spoke about Dominica as the first country of the world that would have had direct dialing. IDD, that's what it was called. It was called IDD. Yes. It was a big break off. Dominica can also talk about the concept of how you call this again? It just slipped off my mind. When you're looking for not only direct dialing, because once upon a time Dominica, we had this competition among companies, and the rates of making a call was very, very, very expensive. And today we're seeing the liberalization the liberalization of
system.
communication. Really, there is one guy I want to try to get him into my program. That is Mr. Ron Abraham, who is very much responsible.
I know Ron.
Yeah,
Yes.
who is
I
very much
remember Ron.
responsible for telecommunication and the liberalized world.
Yeah.
You know, he fought a lot, spent a lot, and today, you know, many of us are not giving him that praise.
Let's give him the praise then. Now, thank you, Mr. Ron, for your hard work. We appreciate what you did. This is the thing that has happened, and I blame some of the people from the diaspora. When they come home, they bring, and they for too long. I'm not yet home, but I hear them. They come back. I see some of them on some programs, blaming everything, making you think it's all nice here. It's only sunshine. There's no rain. Brother, it's not what you think. I'm saying this to you. It's not what you think. And in terms of communication, America is still a bit archaic. They're now starting to see the need to catch up. America still have most of their electric lines for a country that can afford it. I can expect places like Dominica because of terrain and rain and so on. Most of their lines, electrical lines and telephone lines, my brother, are on posts like at home.
Take your
A
time.
few of them are buried in the cities. The majority of
Take
them.
your time. Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. Just slow down. Are you telling me that in the United States of America, in the 21st century, 2026, there are still telephone lines and electrical lines running on posts?
You want me to go outside and take pictures for you from my home?
No, I believe
That's what
you.
I'm telling you.
It's on posts?
On post.
Don't tell me that. I thought it was all underground.
No, sir. No.
So when the diaspora comes out here and tell us that everything is nice and dandy up there by you, what is that?
Post.
And when you're telling me fellas are running posts, lights and posts,
Bro.
Richo,
take your time.
Richo, before you speak, right? I'm not going to call names. Someone said just yesterday we had this conversation. We had fiber optic before New York City. We had cable TV before the Bronx. Another person said, Richo is correct about that. I know because I have my website for over 30 years. Another person said, yes, he is very correct. Everything is not up to date in the USA as most people think. Another person said, when I used to see all the ads on the TV about fiber optic and all the excitement, I was surprised because when I left Dominica, we already had fiber optic. Dominica is very much more advanced in many things than the United States of America. Another person said, he is right because I have fiber optic, but it is not fully. And another person said, yes. Another person said, oh, yes, take your time. Let us hear. Yes, Brain, I am in Florida. Are you still around? He is right again with overhead lines. Another person said, yes, Brain, do some research. Brain, you're not in the world of today.
No.
I am so glad that Richo is speaking out. I love to hear him talk. Another person said, our geothermal cable is running underground right now. Another person said, tell it to them. Yes, it is on post in New Jersey. Another person said, Richo, tell them about the bad roads in America. Right here in the West Palm. Right here in West Palm Beach area have lines on the posts. Another person said, hi Richo, I didn't, if you remember me, mapping fame, but good night. Brain, I will be back soon, just keep the beers cold. My Richo, my brother, take your time, let them let them listen. He is right. Do what you want with pictures. Yes, I'm Richie.
No, before you go, Richo, and I must say that when I hear about these big countries, and I hear people in the diaspora many times, as you are now in there, say to me that we are primitive. We are very primitive. They give us the impression that we are behind time. That is why I was rather surprised when a man like you, who have been out there for more than 20 years, still telling me in 2026 that in New York, in certain areas like Miami, that when you go outside, you're seeing lights on telephone posts.
Yes.
And that's not fake news.
That's
not fake news.
And even in some of the cities, bro. So one of the things, and I just want to be real, because I am fed up with people coming home with all their stories, as if things, some of the very things that's happening, they make you believe that we are so backward. And I'm saying no. And sometimes I have to tell that. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you, the other day I was at a couple months I was at a Bible study, a home group, and somebody asked a question, and they were asking the question as if we are that primitive, and I have to take them and just tell them no. I say, I want you to understand two things that happen. Everything is relative. What is development? What you see as development. In America, it's over consumerism. People see you as developed if you have a TV in your bathroom, a TV in your living room, a TV in the bedroom, a TV in the kitchen. Things, all of these things, that's what it is. It's consumerism. And they're looking at that. Now, in America, the advantage that is in America, which of course is easy access to certain things that you and I, it will take you some time because of our terrain and all of this thing. But if we put things in perspective, I'm going to tell you something. I've not been in Dominica for 20 years, but I've been looking at progress. And I, Clement Michael Richards, I am happy and proud. You don't even know. I don't know. I'm waiting because little shit. If I tell you about the hunger in this place, you would be surprised.
You take your time.
But we'll come back to that.
You mean hunger? Take your time, because I'm going to challenge you on that one. So take your time, Cecil. We have some more time, but you'll be having to answer to me in a couple of minutes. Go ahead, Cecil.
No, Richo, I'm giving Richo the opportunity to say what he has to say. He speaks about hunger.
What is that?
Yeah. No, well, I just want to share with you. My wife and I, we've been running a non-profit organization. A lot of people have not seen me or heard of us, so they don't know. We've been in quite a lot. We've been training and developing other individuals. I'll come to that. Since 2004, we were feeding hundreds. We'll send you all the pictures and the videos. Hundreds of individuals in the United States. So when people come around making you think that everything is all what it is, and you'll be surprised to know who. It's not only the people who are disenfranchised, it's not only the people we would call paro or the people who are addicted or so. No. People are living in their cars, people are living in tents, people cannot afford rent, people cannot afford food in the United States. But people come home and give you make you think. I'll tell you the truth. In that, people come home and make you think, no. But there's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of people that come home And this is what they do. They come home because they get accustomed to the fast life, the quick hustle. They come home and after that they start to criticize it because they want Dominica to be like the place they come from. Brothers, I am happy that Dominica is still a nature island. I'm going to say something that's shocking to you. I am so happy that Dominica is not one of the countries in the Caribbean where the huge hotels and personal residence of rich and famous people and people who are tourists lining the shores of the beaches. Because Cecil, I'm going to use it like that. Remember I was talking about we use our slop pails and we throw it down the river, but at least the river was flowing. Today, there are times when you go to the beach and you will see a notice saying, fecal matter, danger, don't enter. So some people pay thousands of dollars to come to a white sand beach here to bathe in fecal water.
As you're saying that, Richie,
So I'm glad that...
so hold on, Richie. As you're saying that, someone is saying that on Facebook. The person said we can say it has, let me just read it as the person has it. It have areas in downtown Miami worse than Dominica. Drive in Miami after business hours and see all the vagrants in camp tents under the bridge. Tell them, sir. Another person said, but in my area too in New York, they better off. But we here already. Yes, everything is relative. Another person said that Dominica has far ahead than Bridgeport. Even right now, we call Bridgeport the holy city because of potholes. Another one said they came home with make-believe. Yes, the hunger and homeless. Richo, bro, you're so right. It is consumerism. Yes, tell them real hunger and homeless on the US. Amen, my brother. Tell it to them. They think you are in milk and honey. Cecil, this is very interesting, great program. Hope those who like to bad talk Dominica are listening. Yes, Richo.
Yes, I'm look, I'm in the diaspora, bro. But I'm telling you, I'm seeing one of the things I am loving is that Dominica remain it's as pristine as it can. Because I'm going to tell you something. Our development is not, if we are developing Dominica for the kind of tourism or the tourists that visit once, twice, everything, big numbers and leave, we're in trouble. So I like our model. Now, let me just share this. I am not saying that, I want it to be clear that America is bad. No. I am not saying that. There are areas and there are places of opportunity. One of the things I would say to my children today, if you have a good job in Dominica, stay there. What it used to be, it's not. And Cecil, I'll be honest with you, if you see some of your people up here, some people come home and it's a make-believe. But when you see, and when you meet them in reality, you'll see them in all the things out there, in Dominica, but when you see them in reality, where they are, it's a different story. So people must go home and tell truth. Look at the countries. And instead of just bashing everything, if you're in the diaspora, our responsibility is to help bridge the gap, to help in places. We have qualified people here, very qualified people. Cecil, hold a second. Let me just turn on my lights here.
Okay.
And you see,
Yeah, you see what he's talking about.
you actually hearing what he's actually talking about, in terms of, in terms of, not, he's not making any comparison, but just telling us as a people how fortunate we are as a people. So he's back. Yes, Richard, you were saying now.
Yes. So I just want us, as people of the diaspora, and people, you people, my brothers and my sisters, Cecil, I'm appreciating Dominica now like I have never done in my life.
And why is that? Why?
Because I'm going to tell you, I sometimes compare, I now have the opportunity to contrast and to compare. Bro, you eat more product in the United States than you eat food. The air, everything here, bro, it's different. It is totally different. You know, people complain about the hospitals and so on. They don't tell you the truth. They make you think that you never wait in the hospitals in the United States.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. When we talk about, because very often one hear, Richo, about the healthcare and in terms of the services given at our hospital here in Dominica, and make us believe it's very primitive. You've lived for many years in the United States. What do you have to say about that?
What they're not telling you is if you do not have a good insurance, which most people don't have, crap will smoke your pipe.
Take your time, brother. Your
So
teacher.
right now, I spent 6 years ago when I went blind. Most people on the program will now know that. I went completely blind. Everything you see, you're just looking at you is not my real eyes. They have changed everything in there except my optic nerves. I've had several surgeries done, still require a few. I see only a little bit now, and I'm thankful for that. I went into the hospital, and for just 2.5 days, my bill came up to 54,000 US dollars. Brother, the healthcare system in America works great for those that have the money to do that. The average American doesn't have access to good healthcare because it's very expensive. When you go to if you ever go to the ER, sometimes you have to wait a whole day before you get a bed.
Take your time, Richard.
They don't tell you that.
How long? So you mean, bro, let's slow it down, because myself learning, and I want to learn well, so I know a number of Dominicans are listening. Bro, take your time.
Before he says anything, right? Yeah, what someone said about Richo. His activism is still alive. You can take the man out of the country, but the country out of the man. You can, let me just read it again. You can take the man out of the country, but not the country out of the man. Speak, brother, speak to those that are always bashing Dominica.
So the thing is, people give you the impression that everything works.
Beautiful.
In a microwave world. You get sick, you go in the hospital, you just... No. There are times when you stay a whole day, sometimes 10 hours before you get admitted. I'm just being honest. So when I hear people criticizing some of the things, yes, I'll be honest to tell you that what has happened to our health system is a number of our nurses and professionals, America has drawn them. And yes, because of that, you may have lack in certain areas. But I can foresee in the near future, a lot of those professionals, as soon as the development and the progress that we are making, especially that international airport, I can see some of those professionals coming right back home and put their roots down and do some work, because they would be able to access resources from everywhere. Maybe Dominica can also even see my eyesight, the things I can thinking might become a hub, a medical hub for wellness. But I'm saying to you, my brother, a Band-Aid might cost you $500 if you have insurance. An aspirin might cost you $200 or $300 when you get your bill. I know. And so I just been real with you. Cecil, the same mistakes that are made at home, they are made here. Once they were about to do my eyes, they had to come and mark my eyes with a marker because they didn't want to deal with the wrong one. They have cut wrong hands and wrong feet in the United States too. Still going on. So when people give you an idea and make you think everything in America is just great, it is the people who have full access to health care. If you do not have full access to health care, you are more likely to die of high blood pressure. You're more highly to die of strokes. You're more highly to die of high blood sugar. All those things, my brother. You are not able to go and access the doctors as you can. Now, in some places, they do provide for low-income people, but there are a number of people within the United States, because things have been so rough with them, they do not even know how to access those resources. Some of the richer people are leaving the United States and going to other countries, Colombia, Mexico, Germany, some of the places to do certain procedures. Why? Because the professionals are there. India has become a place where a lot of people go to do their health care. And those people can do that because they have the money. Dental care here is off the root, my brother. It is not as easy as they make you think. People who are retired and living on fixed income suffer the brunt of that. People are losing their homes because of those things. It is not as easy as you think. And so in our system, which is like all the other systems of the world, have patience. And yes, maybe we need to train some of our people, because I spoke to a nurse practitioner here and a doctor here, because my daughter is doing chemo. One of my children, I wouldn't say who her name is. And we send the information and everything, and I just find it was too early for her to undergo chemo again. Her body had to build up, and if you share ideas, the people get upset because they think because you're not in the profession. But what people must understand, we're living in a new world. There's a world called AI. And I will come to that later, because in AI, most people here and most people in Dominica probably still just using the website, surfing the website. You're still using websites. there's something called agents. I can set an agent and I can ask the agent to do research for me whilst I'm doing something. And at the end, it will come back and give me just everything I need. I can even make it shop for me. I'm saying that because I have learned and I have become a prompt engineer for AI. So you can know and have information that can help. And in so doing, they were able to help her. You get me? But I will say it again, in the health system in America, for you to get the best health care, you have to have a top of the line insurance, health insurance, or you have to either pay for it from your pocket, which you can, and if you can't, you do not get the best of the best. It's very expensive. So we receiving free medical care in Dominica. It's a blessing in disguise in a way. I know it's not the greatest, but we must be thankful.
Now, Richo, you spoke about AI, and earlier on you spoke about geothermal. I know that the functionality of the AI uses quite a lot of energy. What do you make of Dominica now getting into geothermal in helping international companies that are actually that are actually builders of AI?
So again, this is where Dominica is now with that geothermal. Dominica is on the cutting edge of clean technology, especially dealing with energy. Dominica is now in the top tiers in the world with the 10 megawatt that they do. One of the things you have to realize is right now they are building AI hubs or AI centers. And those centers consume massive amounts of electricity because they need them to sustain the system. Understand this. You remember the days of you having your encyclopedias at your home, all the books you would have, all the series of encyclopedias? Right. So the internet, the web, all of these things that we did all those years, all that information must be stored. All that information has to be stored, but all that information uses energy. As a matter of fact, I think I made that reference to Cecil and say, Dominica has now placed itself in a position where some of these billionaires who need to have clean energy or energy, sustainable energy for their centers, maybe very soon will be probably approaching Dominica because of that geothermal energy that we do have. The 10 megawatts is able to power, I think, 23,000 homes. Do we have 23,000 homes actually in Dominica? If we do, here you go. But even without that, I'm saying, think of it. These investors will hear of Dominica and now come. Now that we have the know-how, now that we have done it, we have our own local people who are trained in there. Now we can do two things. We can sell information and we can help them to develop the information. And we can help develop a couple more geothermal plants. And in so doing, we'll be able to facilitate AI factories in Dominica.
Just hold that thought, Richo. Someone is on the line. Let's see what that person has to say. Good evening to you, caller.
Good evening, Cecil. Good evening, Brain. My brother Richie, what's going on?
Good evening, my good
I'm
comrade.
doing fine.
That voice can
I
change.
know that
That voice cannot change.
oh, Paul. Yep.
I have to chime in, right?
Slippery.
No. That name gone. That I ain't got that again.
And Paul.
But I have to chime in, man. Good evening to my dear brother, Richie. Yeah, I just want to concur, man, with Richie, and I'm happy he's putting it as bluntly as he is. Some of us seem to make it our business to denigrate the country and compare it with the great United States or the great countries with Europe, and without alluding to the facts. And everything Richard has said about what exists in this place is actually true. I mean, for the people who don't know, you need to come see for yourself. And I think I'm hoping that what Richard is saying, my brother, is bringing Dominicans to a place where they can become more appreciative of what they have. He spoke about the kind of poverty that exists. My brother, is during the winter for you to see craziness, for you to see people sleeping, under the boardwalk, people losing their houses, losing their homes. Yet we see people getting houses in Dominica, and we criticize that.
Thank you.
I work in the financial sector, my brother. I work in the financial sector, and I can tell you, just generically, I can tell you, when you see some of the reasons people are losing their property or having to be reported to the various credit bureaus, these are people who have big jobs, supposed to be CEOs, who are now moving back to live in the basement of their parents' home with their family. They're sleeping in their cars. These are people who are unable to pay basic bills. You understand? Yet we see people getting houses. People have free access to health care in Dominica. People have universal free primary education, tertiary education. And people want to go to Dominica, take a few photos of some potholes and come and show it like, well, America don't have potholes. My brother, you want to talk about potholes? Go to the major cities in this country and you will see what's going on. So everything Richard has said can be backed up by empirical evidence, hard evidence, and in many cases, Dominica is very advanced. And one of the things before I end, I will say that should wake up our consciousness is just look at what is happening to the price of fuel in the United States as a result of what is happening in the Middle East. And that is where we should become appreciative of geothermal energy and how that will go a long way to help Dominica. So you see, that is those actions are visionary. They're visionary. You see? Yes. And many people criticize it, and we hear people talking about environment and mountains being destroyed and blah, blah, blah. And they send for experts from the same United States. The same experts who come in from the United States I want to tell Dominicans about cutting down a few feet of mountain. Look at the amount of things that's going on in the very United States. When development has to take place, the amount of mountains and earth they move without any consultation, without people, and nobody can back. So I just say all of this to support my brother. And I know he mentioned that he will be in Dominica later this year. I'll say no more. And just to say that we're coming home. And that's all I'll say.
Yes.
But God bless you guys, man. God bless you, Richie. And, God has called us to do some work. We're destined to do the work that the Lord has called us to be. Dominica is poised to benefit from what God has invested in our lives. And look out. Just look out and say no more. Yes, Cecil.
Thank you.
Very good to see you, man.
Nice seeing you, my brother. Nice hearing you as well. Yeah, Richo.
Bless you.
Thank you. I'm also too, Richo. I want to. Someone just said Cecil Joker and said something after that. I don't want to repeat what the person said. Number one, I did not probe Richo, so the program here tonight is not political, and I think we're talking about the yard. and we're looking at the graduation of our yard. And nothing wrong in making some comparison with a more advanced place. That's where you get comfort sometimes. And so I really want to say to people that my program, the program The Lakou, has never found itself being political. Whenever people start the politics, I tell people what Richo is actually doing is saying to us as a people. He has not said any government. He has not identified any organizations. I asked him earlier on about Patrick John and that of E. Olibla. He made it very clear because we were talking about consciousness and he was talking about system of governments, of governance. You realize I did not go further and beyond for anyone to think that's going to ask for any comparison of people. So I just want to make it be known to the individual who thinks that I am a joker. I want to say to you that I know what I am doing, and it's good information that we are giving to the general public as a form for us to consume and to be much more comfortable to where we are. Let's take another call. Good evening to you, caller.
Good night, Cecil. Good night, Rachel. Good night, The Brain.
Good night.
I don't want to, I know you guys have to move forward with the show, but the Rachel is spot on. The previous caller, is exactly right. Listen to me, Cecil. I lost my insurance in December, my whole family insurance, right? Now I had to search for insurance. I lost my insurance because I was making too much money. Now, what I'm trying to say is, I was on the medication for rheumatoid arthritis, right? Now, because I had some medication stayed back, which I was collecting, I decided to stay 5 weeks without my medication. I had flare-ups. What I'm trying to say, right? With that flare-ups, I found out how much my medication was really worth. I thought it was just $1,000 for just 4 syringes for a month. When I find out the price of the medication, we're talking about $8,000 for 4 syringes to help me walk and to move around to have my mobility back. So you could imagine when you're making money and you're making a little too much, that could send you in a poor home because you have a sick family member, a family member have cancer, a family member have rheumatoid arthritis, and then the rent cannot pay, people can't eat because that family member has to have a little comfortable life of living. You get what I'm saying? So Dominicans, stop bashing our country. Stop bashing your own country because Dominica is far better than where I am sitting in Bridgeport, Connecticut today. I'm telling you that because I can see it. I can see the food lines long before the problem started. There are people making lines by the pantry because they cannot make ends meet to collect a little bit of, how you call it, expired cans of food so that they could eat something. You get what I'm saying? And people, Dominicans, need to understand something. Over here, the processed food you see people are eating, that's a thing they should ban from coming in Dominica, America food. Because them thing have some kind of high amount of fructose, corn syrup, sugar in there. Processed sugar. And processed sugar is what are getting people sick. I got sick because of high blood pressure. And if it wasn't a high blood pressure that I got to find out what really causes high blood pressure, people think it's salt. It's not salt. You have to control your salt, yes. But you see that sugar is the enemy of every human being on earth, especially black people. Yes, we can consume sugar not in its natural form, but you see in its processed form, stay away from it. The government needs to put higher taxes on foods that come out from the United States. I'm telling you that because Dominica have some, I don't want to say no swear words, we have some good foods in the Caribbean, Jamaica, Trinidad, Grenada, St. Vincent. We have good natural foods that heal people. Over here, food send you to the hospital, but we don't have a choice. We have to go buy it. You understand me what I'm saying, Rachel? You understand me, Cecil and Bray?
Yes, I understand you. It's product.
It's a product.
It's product. We eat product
here.
here.
You know?
You're not getting food. You're eating product, processed food.
Yeah, continue the show. Excellent show, Dominicans. And let's move forward. Get all yourself ready because I think we're gonna need another geothermal because people are gonna start coming to Dominica. And I'm not
Oh,
joking.
yes.
That one geothermal is not enough. We need another one because we can feed people power, natural power. Barbados, St. Lucia, that is behind time. Even Guadeloupe that has their own geothermal, we could help them still. Martinique nearby, we could sell them power at a cheaper rate, like how United States is doing it right now. We could sell power to people. And when them billionaires decide they're going to set foot on Dominica, Dominicans take foot first before the rich ones come from the United States and the Middle East to set foot on Dominica. Because we're going to stay behind because we complain about everything. Stop it, Dominicans. Stop
Thank you.
complaining about your country.
Thank you.
Colin. I wanted to
Yes.
I wanted to join in there. In terms of, because we have to be realistic. Now that we're seeing the frost in terms of energy, these wars that's going to come, and is already happening, will be wars of energy. When we look, for instance, at the extraction of Maduro, we realize it's oil. Countries are going to move towards oil. And the United States may have its own situation with the oil, but at the same time, other countries, especially Europe, need oil. Germany, England, So when you have energy and you have clean energy in terms of geothermal and you're beginning to move in that area, it means that you are futuristic. You're planning ahead to get away from these fossil fuel. So right now within the Caribbean, and Richie, I want to bring that out, we have to look at other forms of energy like solar energy or geothermal energy or hydro energy, because we don't have oil here. So when all this energy crisis comes in, at least we'll be able to get the industries working because we don't have to depend on oil. Because without energy, you cannot have industry. Am I right?
Right.
So therefore, it's
you're
very
very
important,
right.
very important for us to begin to be futuristic, because the way the world is going on, we are a step ahead. So it's not a question of politics. All politicians, everybody in the business of politics and economic development must begin to look at alternative energy, because definitely that's where the world will have to go to. Because with all these wars and energy supplies being, interfered with, it's going to throw the cost of living right over the roof. And so we are in a point now where we can use our energy that we have, and we have an abundance of geothermal on the island, which we can utilize, and solar energy. What do you think about my intervention?
No, but you're right. And so that's why I was making that statement. And again, we are remember I said to you, we have now positioned ourselves in the top of all countries around the world, because here we are, long geothermal has been around, man. Since in the 1920s, they've been trying to get those things going. Very few countries are successful. And so now that we are successful with a clean energy, and not only clean, but it is sustainable, it's abundant, it never ends. And there is, tell me how it's going to affect, what's our carbon footprint on that? Zero.
So, Richo, to just come back home a bit, in reference to sports, I know that you have not spoken anything about sports tonight. Played in the Windsor Park, played soccer, you played cricket. So let's take a journey with sports.
Yeah. Well, what can I say, man, about it? I played the game. I played with Kensbro. I played cricket. I play with clubs, man. I always loved, sports was part of my life, man. Once you grow up in the Lakou and in those areas, sports was something for this. Yes. Mm-hmm. Just now, guys, give me a second. Yeah. No.
Richo is trying to get
Things going.
Maybe he needs to power up
Power up, yes.
his system.
The system.
So he's trying to get things done. So another good program at Hartly.
Yes.
Quite a number of people are giving their comments. Somebody said someone said, Cecil, this show tonight to the bracket of excellence. Congratulations. Let the guests speak. Someone says that I have a company that comes to collect food that the big retailers give as expired for donation and give it to food pantries. Chances of household expenses send them to collect social services, food stamps and cash assistance. So you have quite a number of people who actually tune into the program, giving their views themselves, those persons who are overseas, those persons in the United States of America. So they're giving their sheer fear about it, Yes.
Yeah, I'm saying one of the things that people must understand is that education, whether you want to face it or not, will always go on the economics. Economics is politics.
Right. And someone just...
Education is politics.
It's correct.
Sociology is politics. So you can't divorce. But why you don't want it to be partition politics? The cost of living is politics.
So someone said, don't stop your guess. He's talking about the Lakou in big cities. He is correct. I want to shake his hands for speaking out this truth. Another person said, so because he's talking the truth, it's political. Troop stand, that's the Lakou term. That's the Lakou term.
Yes.
So really and truly, another person said, when you're in America, you have to pray God you don't get sick.
Yeah, because the cost of the cost of Medicare. The thing about it, Cecil, Richard is raising a lot of interesting points in terms of his life in Dominica, his life. So, as he said earlier on, compare and contrast.
But I can still hear people saying, though, that so if that is so, why are you still in America?
He just went to take a break.
Yes,
He went to take a break. So he will answer that question.
So, Richard, you're back here first.
That question was about to come.
What's that?
I know that that's the question that's always asked. They ask me that right in America, and I tell them why I'm still here. No, I'm okay. Yes, so I always answer them and I say, I'll tell you why I'm in the United States. I'm not in the United States forever. I came here and I took an opportunity. When I came here, I thought it was what I thought it was. And then I recognized what it is not. However, I would like to tell the person, let the person understand, because I share the truth, now I was able to insulate myself from just what I was talking about now. And so I just wanted us to know the reality and what it is, because I hear some programs and I see people always come talking about their country as if the country is we're living in the back days, and because we have done that. I'm in America, just like I tell the Americans, America became the superpower, so everybody came to America. There was a time when everybody went to England. There's a time when everybody went to France. There's a time with the superpower at the time. So now I'm in America, but I'm not staying in America. I'm in America. But that doesn't mean because I'm in America, I have to do the ungodly thing by speaking down about my country, a country that has been dear to me and blessed to me. And now I'm in America, I can compare and contrast. I can see development. But oftentimes we mistake consumerism for development. And that's, Cecil, I'm telling you, most people make that mistake. Because when you come to the United States, you realize You will only be a face in the place. You only become a person when you have billions of dollars, when you can do something out of the ordinary. At home, you're a person whether you have money or not. So I just wanted to say that I'm here for a time. I hope they heard that I said I was going home. And as a matter of fact, I have contributed to Dominica. I told Cecil, we have contributed during Maria. We have contributed because of our non-profit organization. We have given to Dominica. We have given to Haiti in 2010 and in 2014. We have given considerable. The only thing is you don't hear my name because I'm not one of those persons. So you see, these are the things that happen. That's why I say a lot of people don't know what I'm doing, what we have been doing for years here. You know, and my life is I'm on a different path right now. I've grown, I've understood what it is. I'm in America. As a matter of fact, I'm in America helping Americans and helping America to produce. We were feeding, we were clothing, we were housing the lost and the needy. I came from Dominica. My wife is from St. Lucia. And that's what we end up doing in America for the people. And the places where we live, we never live in the hood. Cecil, I never live in the hood per se. I've been in the hood, but I never live in the hood and stayed in the hood. Stayed in the hood for a short while. But where I live is in places where it is well to do. And so it is people of all races, especially people, the Caucasians, the people, some people like the brother said, that have great jobs, that lose their jobs. People who went off to fight in the war and came back sick in their minds. People who have misdirection. So that's what it is. So I'm not in America sucking off from America. I'm in America giving to America.
Well said, Richo. Let us just go quickly. Cecil, he was talking about your sporting life, and then I would like to ask you as a follow-up, your life as a dramatist, as a poet. Okay, I know you've written several plays, poems. I know you have acted before. I know you have been in drama clubs before. So when you answer the question on sports, as a follow-up, I'll ask you the question about your life as a cultural icon.
You know, I played in various. I played in the leagues up here in Dominica. Played for Cairns. Played for Cairnsborough. I played cricket. I played with Celtics. With Celtics was the club I played with. TK and all that. I played some cricket down in Makushri, Dens and them. Of course, I did some of that. Play softball, cricket also. I've been there on the 19. You know, of course, the Windsor Park was my backyard, and so I don't know what much to say about it. I was good at what I did. And I thank God for it.
Yeah. Cecil, any follow-up you would like to ask?
Oh, yes. So, Richo, I know that, as you said, you were very much involved in football. In your competitive football period, which are the teams that whenever you were going to play, coming from the Lakou, which teams that threatened you and you had to play? Harlem. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, Harlem was the team. Harlem, remember at one time the biggest competition was between Cairnsborough and Harlem. And so, well, you had other teams. You had a couple of teams that came along, Saints every now and then, Halcyons at one time. But Harlem was always the troublesome team. Harlem and then you had Kings Hill had a team in the second division.
Spurs?
First division, yes.
No,
okay.
Talk about Spurs?
Yes. Well, they had one. Spurs, yes, Spurs. Spurs was another one. Spurs were a set of rugged. They were a rugged set of players.
We've Picky as goalkeeper.
Huh?
With Picky as goalkeeper.
Yeah, they had Peaky as the goalkeeper right there, and thing. But really, it was the whole thing was Harlem, Kensbro, and of course you had Saints. Now and then Pottersville didn't have a bad team themselves, So that was basically it around the block. And then after some of the other teams started to come from Canefield and St. Joe and all those teams came a bit later. But it was really the thing was Harlem, man.
So what game can you remember? What big game can you remember? Harlem Kensbro.
Oh, man. There's so many of those big games, bro. I remember in the days of with Rojo and all of them, man. Ah, Cecil,
Ruhu
yeah.
Fox. Fox to Harlem.
What I remember is I remember the day when it was Kens that beat Kens, bro. Yeah.
You were playing for Kens at that time?
Yeah, yes, man. Yes.
Is that the same time
Yes.
when you all had the brother of the Lawrences? Peck?
Yes, man. You get it. Yep. Because
And Manu was the goalkeeper for Kens?
Manu was the goalkeeper, man. Manu and all the guys.
Long Coffee
Those were the days
Coffee
of
did play for
goalkeeper.
Kens at that time?
No, Long Coffee was playing for Kens.
Oh, that's what I'm
Kens.
asking, yeah. That's what I'm asking. Yes.
Yeah, Long Coffee was playing for Kens.
So
Yeah.
guys had to graduate from Kens to get to Kensbro.
Well, yes, sort of. Oftentimes, yes. It was really the same club, but because we had too many skilled players, they had to come to two teams. And then Kensbro had a second division. I played with them too. So you had that there. Yeah.
No, in reference to cricket, you said that you play for teams like Spartans in hardball. Give us your experience in playing for Celtic.
Remember, I was a very good cricketer, sister. I don't know what is the experience I have to think. Really, I played cricket at the high level. I earlier when I was a little younger in everything else, I think I had the opportunity. I could have made the national team very early. I remember that time when they picked that Johnson guy. Yeah, but I was very very good at cricket. I loved pace. Spinners gave me trouble. I always loved the ball coming on. Yeah, I grew up that way.
You play,
I just played the game well.
you played softball.
Well,
Softball.
oh, and I played softball. I played softball well too. So
When you say
you know that.
when you say you play softball well, what do you mean? Express that?
The highest level. I played at the highest level. We played it to the point where I made the national team. We competed in the West Indies. And we competed in
Antigua?
Miami
Oh yeah, all right, this one.
and Antigua. Yes, so both of them, yeah, made the teams.
All right.
And what's your fond memory or memories of the softball games?
What was the fun name?
I can help you. I can help you. One, argument. Two, being a booster. Three, never thinks that he's out. The umpire never know what the rule is.
Man, this girl is just
Four,
making me laugh, man.
four thinks that he was the best batsman that God had created. There's a fifth
It was
one.
probably you.
There must have been a
Yeah,
fifth
well,
one. Huh? There's, oh, and the fifth one was yourself and Jose could never see eye to eye.
Yeah, Jose just, I don't know what, man. Jose just had it for me. Yeah. But it's okay. He was still my partner, We still were cool.
Right.
But we just never see eye to eye. But, I was a competitive person. And I always believe in excellence and going out there and trying to do what I have to do.
And what I used to love to see is that when David Joseph always getting you out whenever you come and bat.
The Bayonel.
Yes. I think he was choking. I think he was choking, but With all the pace
Go
that you
to
love, but
the,
Binel always to get you out.
yeah, man, Bionel used to come and bowl some lollipop thing, and I would go and try to hook, and I get caught. He dropped
Yes.
one shot. Everybody knew me, just drop one shot. And I was a compulsive hooker of that softball. So even you remember the Antigans? When I went there and I started scoring, bam, 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 bam. And then the guy dropped one shot. I hook him, okay. It went just over the guy's head. So the guy said, okay. The wind was blowing against the thing, and the guy dropped another shot when I tried to hit it over the head. Caught. I was pissed.
Yeah.
Because I could have scored half penalty then, I think I'd scored about 32.
You also played in St.
Could have,
Lucia National.
yeah.
So you had a fair share of cricket prowess
Fair
in
share of cricket,
softball.
fair share of soccer. I did what I had to do. I played with the best. I played among the best, and I cannot complain. Not at all.
When you say you played
Yeah.
with the best, among the best, who
Some of
are
the
some of,
best. Well, you know who's some of the best footballers in the island. You know that. You know we had we had so many of them, man. Dominicus, all those guys. You know, you played with Rojo, we played then we had fellas, we had Berger, we had all those Scobie and Bull. You know, we played against each other. I played at school, you know, also the grammar
Dewhurst
school we had thing. Huh?
against Dewhurst?
Viewers, all those fellas, you know, you had all the opportunity. We were younger, but we had the opportunity, and not just you know, we played with Anthony Norris and all those guys, Mays, all the you know they're thing Tucci, you know, all those guys, man, you know, all the guys, man. You can just go ahead. I played against those guys in Pottersville, those guys that was in Halcyon, those guys for Saints, Edward and all those other guys. You know, we played the game, man. Played with all the guys.
Good.
And
And then
always getting bragging rights.
well, that was me. I used to back up when I talk, and sometimes I got a couple ducks in between that school, but that's what it is. And then I remember we also used to play cricket. We used to play cricket competition in Goodwill, lanes and areas of Goodwill. We played, so we played with all the guys, man. TK, and you know everybody. We played with all the guys.
Lenny Andre.
Lenny Andre, all those guys, Lenny's brother, all the guys, we played with them. That was what it was in those days. We played with all those guys. Shout out to all the sportsmen then. Some of them are not alive, some of them are still alive.
I
It
saw I
was a
saw
blessing.
I saw Mr. Rennie around some time ago. Remember Rennie, the
Yes,
coach?
Tom's still there, man. Rennie's still there. Coach Rennie's still there.
Yes, he is. He is very, very much alive, looking well.
So that's good. And Bala, shout out to Bala and all those guys, man,
Yeah.
for the opportunity given. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share. Yes, go ahead.
You wanted to share something.
Yeah, I wanted to share something. I think also with the advent of AI and with the advent that the possibility, I'm just thinking, because the governments can pursue it, other people can pursue it, private investors can pursue it. With the advent of geothermal energy, one of the things I'd like to share just generally with those who are stakeholders, those who are responsible for education and so, because of the AI introduction of AI and everything moving from AI. No, there's a difference between AI and robotics, right? So everybody kind of think when you say AI, it's just robotics. A lot of people think so. There's a difference between those two. Okay, you can use AI apart from robotics, and you can use AI with robotics. So that's what's happening. But I'm thinking in Dominica right now that even at the college level and even before the college level, school level, that we move away from just all studying everything to do with preparing children for clerical work and getting people more into skills and especially starting to pair AI, teaching them how to do AI, not just use it as the web as we do, but begin to do basic prompt engineering. Because what that does is set them up so that as we go forward, as we go forward with our development, our children would be skilled in both phases, in both aspects, being able to do. So if you are a carpenter, you know, use AI with that. If you're a mechanic, use AI. Just be conscious of AI. AI is not all evil as people think. Remember, it's only those who get themselves prepared, those who are prepared, who will benefit. And all going forward from now, I think in our education system, we have to start to think that way. And uh, one of the things I want to do when we come home is in that area to even start to teach and to show. And if I have an opportunity once again to get back to the classroom just to start to teach prompt engineering and how to use prompt engineering in everyday living and how to be successful at doing it.
Yeah, very good. Now, I wanted to go into the field, just take you back a bit. First, two things. We're going to go into your cultural, your poetry. I want to talk about
Yes,
that, and I want to talk about your conversion. Your conversion, because
beautiful.
I hear you talk about your work as a, as a man of the faith. Let's get first into the
Yes.
cultural aspect.
Before you go into the cultural aspect quickly, I just want to say that Richie Vincia Joseph in Pottersville said hi to you. She said that your sister Vincia said hi. So I just wanted to make sure
Yes, I know
that
that. Shout
I
out to
mentioned.
Vincia, my sister. Vincia! Love you always.
All right. Yes.
Yeah, your culture, your poems. What have you done in terms of your
Okay, yes,
poetry?
I still write poetry. As a matter of fact, I was just telling my brother Baba today that I have a number of poems that I have that I not published, but I think I'm going to put them in there. So one of the things that influenced me very much, I must say, go back to it, is at in Dominica Grammar School we had what was an art. We had an art class, and the art class also we had a drama class, and it started right there. The interesting thing about it is I didn't even know until today that my father, Clement, he was a secret writer. He was a tremendous musician involved in music lovers. You see, my brother Francis, you call him Major. And Kello that do all the tailoring for that used to do the tailoring for them. All of this is just part of the skills that come within the family. I do write consistently, Brain, and I've always believed in uh, maintaining culture. As a matter of fact, I had a niece up in Canada. She died Debbie. We used to steal. I used to give her ideas as to things that she could do to enhance the culture, to keep the culture, our culture, Dominica's culture, alive. And they were doing that. And so you have that. I always believe in that. And even if you don't see me, I'm watching our cultural everything that's cultural. I boast to people. I show people ballet. I show people all those things because I say to people that your culture is important. One of the things that happens to people as soon as there's a conversion, they go away from their culture. But culture is something that helps you to develop. Culture gives you an identity, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud. I remember the days doing my acting with People's Action Theatre, with Aquarian Expression, and being involved with Whitey Kubuli, in dance, in drama. So I've been involved in a number of things there. Going to Grand Bay, let me tell you something. Shout out to Grand Bay, which we used to call the cultural capital of the world. We used to go to Grand Bay, and in Grand Bay, African Liberation Day and other times like that, everything that was cultural, tradibel, everybody up there, we believe in that. I believe in our culture, and I am so proud. I smile when I see the programs, the children at school, when we see all the culture that is going on. Dominica has preserved the culture, both the European and African aspect of our culture with the French influence. These things are necessary, and we have to continue in that way. Can you imagine taking that and making it digital and bringing it into a place with AI? Look, I'm thinking like that. Sorry about that.
No,
I'm in
Richo.
an AI form.
No, Richo. Someone said brilliant guy. Someone said to you brilliant guy. Another person said that he needs to get my book, Oceans of Thought, book free, and read the history of the time in sports in Dominica. Another person said, Cecil, ask him if he remembered when he and Gifford Walsh had an altercation after a Kensborough match.
But people still remembering that, man. Yes, I remember that.
What's
Jeez.
that about? I
Ah,
suspect Gifford quiver you. I felt like you have so much more. If you had quiver Gifford, you'd say you
but no,
quiver
no, no,
Gifford.
no. We didn't get in. We didn't. You know, it was. There was no physical. No, but listen to me, bro. You know me. I wasn't backing down.
Hmm.
It was after a game, and I don't. I think either I tackled him or he tackled me, and then we got into it, man. You know, it was the heat. Yeah, and there was a number of threats. Yeah, threats on every side. Who want
Right.
to beat who? And at the end of the day, we bury that foolish hatchet.
Let me ask. Yeah.
Michael Augustine Zafatots says good
So it's
night to you. Michael Augustine said good to
yes,
see you, Richo.
Let me
yes,
ask you.
thank you.
Do you have any of your poems close by? Do you remember any of them, or we'll have to get you to get one of them at least?
No, I can just go and pick up Johnny.
Yeah,
Let
you
me
may
just
need to
get
get
it
one
for
of
you.
your
Yes,
poems
I have a
before.
couple of them.
Yeah, you may need to
I have a
get to hear
couple
your
of them.
poems, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
What
I
is it?
come in.
Yeah.
Just give me a second. I have a couple of them right there.
That's a good thought to get him to
Yeah.
come and
Let's hear his poems.
to read his poem.
Yeah.
But before he goes, I need to ask him about his religious belief.
Yeah, we have to ask him.
I mean, we
I
might
know
go
he was a
beyond.
Pentecostal at one
We might
time.
go beyond 11 o'clock tonight. Because we started the film a little bit late because we were getting problem for our um with our Facebook
We need to ask him
live.
also about his children. We never ask him how many
Yes.
children he has in Dominica. We do. We had to
Brain, you
ask him.
planning those things. Yeah.
So we need to
Yes,
ask
yes,
him.
you know,
We need to ask him about his.
but it's
Yeah.
okay.
I think we'll first ask him about his
I'll answer
children.
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
How many you have?
Yeah.
I will answer you. I'll answer you brave and
Take your time.
frank.
Take your
Don't worry
time. You
about
know I'm
that.
ganging up for
So,
you.
so, so I just want to show you. This is a binder here of just poems.
Let's see it again. Put it up again for us to
It's a
see.
binder just full of. I have about 150 poems in here. Let me see which one I want
Yeah,
to
maybe you
read
can give
for
us
you
two of
guys.
them. You can probably give us two of three of them.
Yeah, I'm just going to give you two. I'm going to give you two. I just want to look for one of those that I love out there more than anything. I don't know. I wouldn't do racial. I wouldn't do racial divide. Where is it?
Why not Rachel? Why not Rachel divide?
No, I don't want to read that there now.
Yes.
You want me to read racial divide? Okay, I'll read racial divide, Cecil.
I'm sure Chum not listening to you tonight.
Let me get to racial divide. You ready for that? Okay,
Yes.
racial divide was written because of an experience, and you will see it. It's called racial divide. Should our souls flooded, should we be washed by waters cleansed through the pursuance of social justice, the echoing voice that filled the void of a plasmic race? Upon the shores of this terrible ordeal, hangs the touch of anger, fragile and loose, passed throughout history, falls easily into the abyss of our hearts, inflammable. It returns as a force of energy, not a bright radiance, instead, glowing red cinders, fused into a mass of flesh, chanting with fists clenched the cry for true freedom. Life circles in our veins, yet the moral fields where we pray are immersed in pools of blood shed with racial knives, should cut through the hypocrisy, for all races bear the color stain red. Clutching onto emancipation hopes, wandering across this vast desert, we are offered a few clouds of political solution, patched, dry, and abandoned, exposed daily to this merciless heat we thirst. We live this portion and we drink its bittersweet contents, struggling to become in a land where the color of your birth aborts or inspire you to believe somehow the cloggy waters of freedom, equality, and justice taught to us must finally be cleansed through the struggles to achieve our political and social independence. Racial divide. That was written about racial. It was a racist experience I had in New Jersey, so I wrote that.
Any other?
And
Yes,
yeah, man, I have some others there. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to read one Cecil would love, so I'm going to put it that way. Ecstasy. My ears are pregnant with your words inspiring me. My eyes are hungry for your sight, captivating me. My nose are burdened with your fragrance, wooing me. My mind is saturated with your thoughts, intriguing me. My heart is satisfied with your love, comforting me. And my will is anchored in your hope, strengthening me. My arms are enveloped in your warmth, embracing me. My legs are swept by your passions, driving me. And my lips are dripping with your kiss, fulfilling me.
I suspect you wrote this one for your wife, boy. This one, I suspect your wife got this one and she was convinced to be in love with you.
Said it was well focused, boy. You drove me against the wall, man.
It reminds me of my poems
you have
too.
Not lost your romantics, boy. You have
no,
not.
Richo.
Life, man.
I can imagine your wife hearing this one.
This one, Ecstasy.
Ecstasy.
My goodness me.
Oh my God.
These guys,
She had no other choice.
Short one.
Uh-huh.
I have a short one. I just want to say, this is the short, very short.
Yeah.
I call it questions that question.
Go ahead.
Cecil and Brain, haven't you sometimes sit down simply to question a question, but finds the question you question answers you with another question, whose answer still questions you?
Wow. Powerful. Profound. Real profound. I can tell you this one.
I can tell you.
Yeah. Question you.
Question.
You still ask a question and you still get the answer with a question.
Yes, man.
Brilliant one, Richo. Richo, we come down to the end of the show.
Your conversion.
Your conversion. I know we all knew you in Dominica as a Pentecostal in the early days, and you back. What are you going to say?
No, well, let me tell him, I knew him as a swashbuckling young man. Very devastating. How many children do you have, Richo?
8.
8 of them. How many mothers?
I stayed.
How many mothers? 3?
No one. 3?
No.
Maybe 5.
6.
I said I wasn't far from it.
So
I wasn't far from it.
I know you were swashbuckling. Your conversion.
But before you give your conversion, I just want to say to you that Chris Bugunu said, my Roseau Boys School teacher. I just want to make you know that he said that.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you, Chris. Always.
Your
Yes.
conversion.
Go ahead.
Your conversion. What happened to you?
What really happened? You want to know? Well, it's been a while. It was a long, long time ago. Um, the thing is, my conversion came about, and for me, after looking back, God was always preparing me. You know, sometimes you never understand your destiny. You see things happen and you do not know. Ever since I was much younger, when my mother used to send me to the Roman Catholic Church, she started bringing me herself. You know, some of those mothers, they bring you to the Roman Catholic Church, drop you by the door, and you run in. They give you a penny for you to go and put in the church, and then they would go back home because they had other things to do. Maybe at that time they found it a time. Let me put it that way: it was time for they and your father or their boyfriend to make out whatever it was. Now nobody was in the house because now you're at church. But then after a while, I started to tell I could go by myself. I never really liked the Catholic Church. So I would stop by Sir Brooks. You remember Sir Brooks Church in that little area there?
Yes.
Right.
Upper
By the
Lane.
Penny Bank area.
Upper Lane.
Upper Lane. I would stop there, and when I go in there, it was always nice songs and meet Jesus, and you pray on him, and they're giving you stuff to eat and everything like that. But the impression of Christ was always being placed in my heart. Now, you know, in the Roman Catholic Church, church is 1 hour. Now I coming back home 2-3 hours, and I have to take a little whooping because my mother been waiting for me. Well, the next Sunday I would go and skip and go take my beating until she get fed up with me. So I tell her when she come and take me to church, and I brought her by Sir Brooks, and she just agree, kind of. But she'd always tell me in part one, we parle with a derilizio acasme. Okay, she was small, she'd been saying that. So stuff was planted in my heart from then. I always had a fervor and a love. And then, you know, you grow up and then you go to secondary, you go through school, you go to secondary school. And when you go to secondary school, you're in all the rebellion. And then what happened to me one day is I was asking myself a question in science. So how comes, where did all these stars come from? This Big Bang theory that they wanted to teach us, that evolution thing wasn't making no sense to me. So I lied down on my bed. I remember lying down on my bed that one of those days as a grown man enough and asking God if he's there. But the most dramatic thing that happened to me is after Hurricane David in 1979. During the great devastation, when our roof, the roof upstairs left, you know, we lost our roof, but we were downstairs. Now remember, Lufa was living in one part. When we bought the house, Lufa was living in the house that was bought. So Lufa was always with us, okay, as a son. So Lufa, Martin Lufa. Good. So he was living on one side and I on the other side. So my mom joined me down there. And every time we were sitting out at the front, all of us, we had some marijuana rolled spliffs. And we were talking about Jah. And brother, I'm not going to lie to tell you, all of a sudden, the light came on in the house and there's no electricity and went out. And all of us got cold. very, very cold in that place. There were one, two, three, four, five of us in there. Nobody could. And when that happened, my brothers, the thing that happened to us was we start to question there must be a God. So I started to pursue God. That's how it started. Got converted, became, saved at the Pentecostal church, the same church I used to send stone and send old eggs on, disturb all the time, flatten tires, do all the things there with the other guys. Yeah,
So you
that's
so
where.
so so you were sold then.
Not exactly, but sort of. Yes, it was very much in one of those, and I used to challenge the people there, tell them about everything, tell them that nonsense that the Bible was white man, and you know the story. But eventually, the Lord Jesus Christ took a hold of my heart. Truly, the Holy Spirit drew me, and then all of you, my friends, say you could never last ritual because you expected me not to last. But the Lord kept me for a long time. And then I backslid for a while.
That's during Pastor Bell's period.
No, I didn't backslide during Pastor Bell's period. No, Pastor Bell was still there. No. Yes, I was there with Pastor Bell, no, not backsliding. On the Pastor Bell, no, there was no backsliding in Pastor Bell. I stayed there faithful all along. This happened during, I think, Augustine or one of them uh, uh, time, not Pastor Bell at all. Yeah. So this happened. I got married. Everything was going on. And then, of course, I fell back in my foolish ways, backslid. And you know, Cecil, the story. But after moving back up to the United States, the Lord recommissioned me. And in so doing, I repented and started to do work. So ministry started for me again. Thank God for my wife also, whom I met, whom God placed, my now wife. We started ministry together, of course. I was a big preacher. I pastored at Riviera Syriac and all the places, open air, all those things. It was well known, preached everywhere, Mary God, Portsmouth, everywhere, just preach everywhere I could, open air, become responsible for starting churches, working in Wharton Waven, One Prosper, Loda, in the valley right there, Girodel, all the way to Point Michel. We worked there. We went and we worked in Scottshead and Soufriere. So we did a whole lot of things in Canefield. I was everywhere. Preached there, and then it happened, and I came to the United States, and for a couple of years, I was following the crowd for a couple of years, and then I decided, the Holy Spirit took a hold of me, and so from since 2006, I've been following the Lord, really following the Lord. In that process, I met my wife, and we had the Reflection of God the Way Ministry, a non-profit organization that was responsible, like I said, for feeding, clothing, teaching the less fortunate or the fortunate anybody who was around, and also sharing the word of God with them. In that time, in the process of time, we started a food pantry in a church. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're
Yes,
listening.
we hear you.
We're listening to you.
All right. we started a food pantry in the church. Um, and then we moved from there. Our ministry grew, and we started to teach online and international. Um, we went to Cuba. We went to evangelize in Cuba. We've taken care of churches in Pakistan and India and those places, supported all those places. We've done all of those things. We've been very much involved in the development of people. But the interesting thing about it, Cecil, is we became specialists at dealing with people who were on drugs, people who were mentally ill, not born mentally ill, but became mentally ill through addictions and so on, mild trauma. The Lord used us in various ways to see people be made whole and to see their lives come right back. We've preached on the tents, we had tent crusades, we have done all those things. 2016, I helped to pioneer also a Chesapeake Bible College, online college. Of course, it's still going on right now. The only reason why I'm not teaching there right now is because of my eyes. Um, uh, I am able to see now, but I went blind. But my whole life right now, my whole life and ministry has been given to the Lord. And there's so much we have done. Words cannot really explain it. But I have been in the Lord. I've been training and developing leaders. I've been doing those things. I sent Cecil a clip. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. So that is going on. And so I'm continuing to do that. So that's where it is. Ever since 2000, when I had a mini stroke, I had a double stroke. I had a mini stroke, and then I had what is called an occlusion, a stroke in my eye. That's how I lost my eye. Interestingly, my pressure was up, even if I was eating very, very well. And so um, that was the case there. So, brain and Cecil, it is due to the Lord. If I didn't know the Lord, I would not be able to see again. I had to be patient. So I had to be enrolled, and I'm still enrolled in the Division of Blind Services, where they teach you how to walk. I had to walk with cane. I had to walk listening to the traffic. I had to do all of that. I almost got a blind dog to lead me, but thank God, through prayer and, of course, at the time, God gave me one of the best doctors that deals with glaucoma and problems with your retina. Um, but basically, I have to say, through much prayer, I was able to see again. But I've seen quite a lot, and I'm going to tell you, I believe very strongly in the Lord, and that is what my mission is. Um, I am one of those that believe in reaching out to people. So in every place that I work, I preach, I teach, I showed. I even went against some cooperation policies because I always figure sharing the word of God. So I've pastored churches that in there. I've been involved. I've been helping pastors. We've been helping to actually help churches for a while. We were helping churches that had problems, churches that had doctrinal issues. So God helped us to do a lot of restoring and helping, and that's what we are still doing at this time. So that is what it is in a nutshell.
I like that in a nutshell. Last question from me. I know that you were involved heavily politically in the 80s into the 90s, set up groups and so on. That too you can also inform us, because we're talking about the Lakou, the life of Richie in the Lakou.
I was wishing you keep me away from the politics, bro. You see what's going on? Okay, I'm just going to give a brief synopsis. For those that know, yes, I was very, very, very involved in the politics in the 80s and the times. That Cecil can even remember. Cecil remember I was the vice PRO of the party at one time. So I was heavily
When you,
involved in
hang on, hang on,
investing
hang on,
at the time.
hang on, not so fast. The party, you're a public relations officer of the Labour Party, let us of the
Yes.
party, or the UWP, or the Freedom Party.
No, no,
Like,
no, no, no. I should say of the Labour Party at the time. Um, we did a lot of work, and Cecil, though, I like to keep that a bit right now because this is one of the things I want to make known quite just right here. Politics should have nothing to do on any kind of pulpit. People who are involved in doing the work of the ministry should not be politically involved, not to use the platforms there. One elderly man said to me at the time, brother, if it's one thing in the United States, never to allow to happen on the pulpit is to allow politics to come in because you cannot divide the people that you want to unite. And so that is my philosophy. Anytime you get involved in politics as a minister of God, as a man of the cloth, you have compromised yourself and the ministry. I'm not saying that you cannot pray. I'm not saying you cannot have a political life, but that has to be very personal. It cannot be public because your duty is towards the people to whom God has sent you. And so that is what it is. Our duty is to pray for the leaders, to pray for the opposition, and if the leader of the in the government ask me to have an audience with him and to pray for him right now, I will do that, and I will do it personally and privately. I will, if the leader of the opposition asks me to do the same thing, I'll do it, pray and counsel him privately. But I am not open to this political thing out there right now. My life is dedicated to Christ and also to the people and also to Dominica. I am passionate about Dominica, and my desires when I come back is to contribute. I have a daughter right now that is completing her, her doctorate at Grambling University. She's doing that. I have a son that is involved in the nuclear program in Canada, and he also builds planes and drones. There are a number of things and initiatives we can look at. It is to develop Dominica. So that is what it is. The rest of my children, those that are doing well wherever they are. But I just want you to know that. I don't, not just highlighting those that do this. My daughter, who is going through that chemotherapy at this time and all that thing, she has her own business and doing well. Um, she's taking care of little kids. So you have that. You have Kevon. He's somewhere up here doing his own stuff, getting himself ready because they have land close to the international airport. Shout out to him. Michael, my son, which you guys all know, was very much in music, and so well, he's getting his act together, and I thank God for all of that. I have another daughter, and she's doing quite well right now. She was in a crisis. I thank God, God healed her, and she's doing very, very well right now. So that is it. And if you want me to, I can call their names.
That is personal.
that's personal. We won't.
Yes.
We won't.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
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 And I thank their mothers for bearing with me. Thank you. God bless you.
Yeah. No,
And I
Richo,
mean it.
no, Richo, we are now coming. We
To
have
the
now
end.
come to the end of the program. Any last words?
Last words.
Yes, certainly. For me, I just want us to understand if we want to get to the place where we need to go, we have to start somewhere. And one of the things we have to learn to do is oftentimes let us not look at the thousand reasons why we could fail. My idea to all those listening to me is let us look at all Let's look at that one reason wherein we should succeed. Secondly, I want us to understand something, and I had to understand that myself and through personal experience. People, we cannot live without God. We cannot live without the Lord. And everything from your breath and everything you ever achieve, He allows you. All He's asking is for you to submit and to acknowledge Him. And if we do those things, things will be slightly different. I'm not saying it will be easier, but I'm saying we'll be able to bear the burdens because He is bearing it with us. And to all my fellow Dominicans, I just want you to know I love you. To those of you I hurt, I ask for your forgiveness. To those of you whom I encourage, I have encouraged. Those of you who are taught, those of you, my life. I just realized there was a lady on the program, and you never know who's looking at you. So to those of you I've encouraged, be encouraged continually. For those of you, my brothers and my sisters who are backslidden, it's time to come back to the Lord. The time is near. And may God bless Dominica. And may God bless the Prime Minister. And may God bless the opposition leaders. And may God bless all the stakeholders. And Cecil, may God bless you and Brain. And may God bless all the members of the clergy. And it is our time, it is our opportunity. We are not hopeless. We have hope, and the hope is in Christ. We can do it. We can build Dominica. We can build a better future. But we have to develop the character and the fortitude. And my desire is to help those who would like to. Thank you.
I just want to say to you, Richard, thank you. It was a brilliant program with you. From the comments on Facebook and YouTube, it speaks volume of your passion to Christ or for Christ, the passion that you have for your country, the way that you have been able to articulate issues that some persons may find very difficult to really speak on. You were brave enough to talk about it. What about you, Brain?
Oh, it was brilliant. He's still the guy full of energy, full of drive. You know, I can still feel the reach of old inside of you, in spite of your challenges. But I noticed that the Lord has given you that fortitude and that you're applying it in your everyday life. And I'm looking forward to when you return back to your country to make your contribution in the development of to continue development of your. Let me wish you all your best and tell your dear wife and your kids we say hello.
And just want to say also to your dear wife for giving us that opportunity to speak to you for such a long time.
Right.
As a matter of fact, normally we go to 11 o'clock tonight. We went up to 11:28 as we speak. I think it had to be from her own permission. Yeah. Or her volition, yes. why you have decided that you were going to speak to us for that long, and the experience that you give us of your Lakou, it's I'm sure that I would have heard quite a number of people saying, yes, I remember that, yes, I did that, yes, Richie, how come you remember that? So you really brought back quite a lot to the plate, a lot of things that we would have forgotten, that remind us of how you grew up. And we really want to thank you so very much for being so open in the discussion. Not everywhere that you go that the grass is green. Sometimes we put some glasses onto our eyes and the brown grass will show green. So I just want to thank you so very much and continue to serve God and to ask God to continue to bless you as you continue.
But let me just say one final word to you. I love your poem. I had to make comments. And of course, please, when you get a time, send a copy for me and Cecil, your one dealing with the racism, and obviously my other favorite one, I must tell you, was Ecstasy.
It's a good thing I didn't read Stint.
No, you don't read that one. And the questions to the questions.
Well, I don't know. Last night, I don't know what mood I was in. I found myself reading some 12 poems of mine. I'm like, Cecil, you wrote this? You mean you're that romantic? You know,
yes,
so Richard, it was really
Good
nice
evening.
speaking to you. It was really nice having you, and I'm sure that the audience who listened and looked at you were very much satisfied with what you were able to bring to us. So once again, thank you and good evening to you.
Certainly, thank you and good evening. And anytime, love you guys, man. Love my country. I'm coming home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless.
God bless.
Okay then. Bye-bye.